champion select for game number 1 of this best of 5 series. Renekton and LeBlanc banned away from Damwon on Lowkey's side, and the Pantheon to be removed, of course, with the Elise alongside it. See what Lowkey decides to take away next, and the Xayah that has been rising to such prevalence here at the play-in stage will be taken off the board. Yuumi available, a few picks that are still pretty strong that are left on the board, Jack.
Yeah, and Qiyana's the one that jumps to mind for me as well, because the games where Qiyana was actually falling through the pick and ban phase was the Lowkey versus AHQ games, and this is something that Showmaker hasn't been able to get his hands on yet in this play-in stage. So I think it's a very conscious decision for Damwon to not ban the Qiyana, knowing Lowkey hasn't played it, and the fact that it's fallen through that pick and ban phase, so that they can kind of just pick it up at their leisure.
And they're also rolling the Akali dice here as well. I mean, 3 out of the 4 games that Artifact has played has been on that Akali. He's shown some pretty impressive stuff on it as well, as the cat in the book is locked in here for Noguri. That'll be going into Beryl's hands once again. Not going to be paired up with the Xayah, which was so incredibly powerful, but now we're staring down the barrel of an Akali that can be flexed towards either Noguri or Showmaker, but Showmaker has probably been the best in the world on this champion, so we'll see if Noguri gets his chance to try and shine or not.
Yeah, there's a chance that they flex that pick if they still decide to go with the physical damage solo laner like the Qiyana, but I can also see Artifact just happily going towards the Tristana, even though Artifact did play 3 of his 4 group stage games on the Akali. His most kills were on the Tristana in that one game. So I think that Trist is actually going to be Tristana mid rather than Tristana bot for Celebrity.
Yep. Syndra has been banned away, and speaking of Celebrity, actually he's the one that's been playing the most of the Syndra, as Shen just straight up locked in. A flex pick in his own right, but I like him a little bit more in support, especially if you're going up against Noguri. Oh, that's Garen.
Garen Yuumi. Nice. Nice. Atlas, you and I were talking right before this about the fact that we had 74 unique champions picked in just the play-in groups alone. And we were saying, okay, which ones are most likely to start making it? And we said, well, someone's going to play Garen Yuumi. Yep. It's going to happen eventually.
And now Shen's in as well, I believe. So we're up to 76.
What, was Shen actually unpicked in the entire play-in phase?
I think it may have been.
If it's 76 or 75.
I can actually,
and a Vayne ban, that was also not picked or banned.
Hey,
so we're just racking up the unique picks in this.
Well, Damwon desperate for a little bit of range, if that is going to be the Garen Yuumi on the bottom side of the map. We'll see where we make up for it, as our Showmaker could, of course, go for something in the mid lane if he wants to, and Noguri has a plethora of different options, as Caitlyn being banned away also. What's going to augment this Olaf ban on Lowkey's side is the next question. Looks like they're targeting Canyon, and they're going to continue down that route, as the Lee Sin is off the board. Still plenty in his wheelhouse, though, and I just want to see Karthus. I just want to see Karthus locked in. Canyon is so good at Karthus. You know, I've been a bit outspoken against Canyon and his impact in this team, but when he plays Karthus, he is the hard carry. His skittles are targeted. And Qiyana is going to be the next lock-in here, so could be Showmakers, could be Canyons here as well.
They can flex those picks up towards the top or the bot lane. If the Shen ends up going top lane and it's not a Shen support, I would actually expect the Akali to go top and the Qiyana to go mid. I think Qiyana can beat the Shen in lane, but I think Akali would just be much, much better.
Well, we'll see where they do decide to go, as that looks like a Twisted Fate.
Bring on the globals.
Yeah, we're ticking down, and Shiel showed us that the Twisted Fate works extraordinarily well to get these early to mid-game compositions rolling. It could be a great way to attack this Damwon Gaming squad if they can get around this map. Ooh. And Ornn being considered. Damn, how many unique picks do we need? This was another one we were going over, Jack.
Yeah, I would like to officially update the unique picks ticker.
Yeah. Like 79?
Stat request, Jeff, for stats, please. I don't know exactly, but they will tell me soon. Oh, man.
I can help you out here if you would like.
You can't draw circles until you're in the game.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah.
Sorry. I should have allowed you to do the circles. Is Vladimir going to be picked up last pick?
Hold on a hot second. I've been talking about Qiyana in the solo lane.
Yeah.
It's in the jungle, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. I mentioned that earlier, so it's okay, Jad. I got you back. We're totally fine.
To what you say more.
I mean, we're not listening to me worked out for Papa Smithy for quite a few years, so I think we're going to be okay. As Noguri is the only champion that has ranged auto attacks other than the cat that wants to sit inside other champions for most of the time. So Damwon going to be playing very up close and personal League of Legends, whereas Lowkey have set themselves up a really nice front to back, pretty comfortable team composition.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at really both of these team compositions does speak fairly to how the teams want to play. I'm just going to ignore the Garen Yuumi for now and just talk about the other 8 champions, because Lowkey actually said before the tournament the way they play League of Legends is different than most teams, where they actually just prioritize kills on the enemy team and then they just win because they're stronger, rather than trying to play this split push or objective focused game. And I think Damwon is a team who probably does more split push than anyone else. So I think it's very deliberate by Lowkey Esports to pick so many globals, so much hard engage, because if they ever see a 5v3 or even a 5v4 opportunity, Lowkey kind of has to be forced into action, and they're trying to get as many tools as possible to do so.
Well, I like that they do have some late game insurance as well with how easy their composition is to sort of execute in that later stage of the game. And I think ease of execution is very good in early games and best of 5s. Because if you get to just sort of sit back, play your laning phase right, understanding that your late game is pretty easy to navigate through, can certainly help out with those nerves. But speaking of which, let's get into game number 1, Damwon versus Lowkey Esports.
All right, we obviously know that Damwon Gaming is coming in as massive favorites in this one, but it is an interesting draft we have to start this off, watching the Garen Yuumi make its Worlds debut. Now, this is a pick that ended up getting a lot of priority over in the LEC, but we're going to stop talking about that for now, because there might be a level 1 thing.
Can we talk about the cull start for Noguri?
Has he done that in the
Nope. No, this is a first. So we know that the guy, he likes his investments, right? He plays Nomad's Medallion Vlad with Kleptomancy. Now he's got Klepto Vlad Cullstart. That's that's a new one.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we might see level 1, so we'll get into that in a bit.
Yeah, well, immediately the pull has to be taken, and Noguri's straight down to it, and the flash is just going to be ignored. Venus now going to be without that one for the next little while, but it looks like Lowkey Esports are going to be able to steal away the red buff to start this one off.
Okay, I would love to see a pro view replay of Noguri in that moment. Because
did he skill up and then pull immediately?
Because it felt like the Shen came from Fog and immediately taunt flashed. If he actually leveled that W up to pool, I'd be extremely impressed.
And now he's pretty happy to
he
have
still has the
again.
pool. Don't go up to taunt him. But we are also seeing the Lowkey lane swap,
yes,
by the way.
Happening,
this is something they had done in the VCS. You want to catch people off guard for it, and who better to do it against than Yuumi, who is a very poor early game roamer. So they're trying to punish the very greedy Vladimir start, and they also got into take pool. So let's see how practiced Damwon is in responding to this stuff. The reason you don't see lane swaps anymore is because of the early fortification on the bottom turrets. These plates are actually much easier to take in the early game than the top lane plates, but Damwon also doesn't have an AD carry to do so, so I want to see how this plays out.
Might be easier for Garen to do turret damage, though, if there's only one opponent, and especially if it is an Ornn that's trying to struggle through a 1v2 scenario. DNK continues on the enemy side of the map, taking the Krugs here, as Celebrity and Venus are pushing towards this turret. I like that you mention it, because they do have the Demolish as Noguri. I mean, he's going to be late on the pull this time around, but he wants to try and at least get out some sort of kill, but that's 2 turret shots taken by DNK. Celebrity even takes a cheeky one as Noguri's just waiting for that pull to come back up.
Well, he
Great
gets
flash out of the way of the rocket jump, and Celebrity somehow navigates it. So first blood going over to Lowkey Esports, but that was a tough one.
And Noguri got so many summoner spells and so much health bar off of Lowkey, he can just teleport back without losing that much experience. So yes, the first blood does go down on Tristana, but I don't actually feel like Noguri loses that much. Normally, in the 1v3 turret dive situation, Noguri shouldn't even be there. You should not be sticking around 1v3 for those early game dives, but he thought he'd be able to outplay it hard enough to make it worth it, and arguably, he kind of did.
Yeah, I mean, who's further behind? Hani or Noguri at the moment, and it does look like 1 CS is going to be the difference makers. Let's have a look at it. Holds onto the pool this time for a little bit longer.
Yeah, so he's also, while trying to stay alive, trying to get as much damage down as possible. Notice how he waits on his empowered Q until it's just about to wear out. But ultimately, they do have the Ignite. They know his pool is down. Lowkey did actually flash the rocket jump and dodge the body slam from DNK, but that just kind of goes to show the number of things that have to go wrong in an early game turret dive to not get a kill.
Certainly a lot he needed to be thinking about there, as we've got some two-man jungling coming down once again. Looks like the Shen and Gragas best friends crew moving back towards the top side. As if at first you succeed, I guess you should even more try again, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, just looking at the way this early game is going compared to how you'd think it would go in a standard game, like so far things haven't been a disaster for Lowkey. The question will be whether or not the Ornn can live through this three-man attempt.
Well, Nuclear looking for this one as the slow, thankfully, down to 20%, says Hani. He gets back towards his inner turret. And I really like this lane swap scenario for Lowkey, because if you have a look at where their damage comes from, it doesn't come from Hani. Yeah. In any game. I mean, this guy averages 17% for his team.
Yeah, and so that's on champions like Gangplank, Kled,
Camille.
High utility champions, really.
They don't do very much damage, not these ones. No. Well, not in Hani's hands anyway. It's mostly the 31% damage share that good old Artifact has that allows them to get over the line in their victories. So may as well just put him under the bus and see whether they can put Nuguri behind. And he's down bottom side, and they're eating through all of these plates. DNK walks over a ward. It looks like the back away is coming in here as Hani gets finally a few extra farm, but Nuguri moving down does mean that he misses out on a lot here.
Yeah. Really, though, this is an early game win for Lowkey, because Damwon has definitely been really slow in their response to this. Basically, if a team is just going to send people top lane into your fortified turrets, you just send the same number of people bot lane and kill the turret faster. Like, that's the way you do it. However, because the Garen Yuumi haven't been good at killing turrets, and because of the Tristana on the other side, not only did Lowkey get the first blood, they also got as many plates as possible. So in many ways, Damwon is failing in the way they respond to this lane swap.
Hasn't worked out so far, but they haven't taken the outer turret on the top side of the map. That bottom outer is very, very low, with that one plate still remaining. DNK gonna head back home, does already have his keystone activated, as we were having this conversation earlier, Ender, part of his rant at the very beginning where a lot of the real stuff was happening.
Yeah.
He did mention the Dark Harvest versus the Predator. We do have a Predator on the Gragas this time out.
Yeah, they actually did like half the stuff.
Yeah.
They were suggesting. Take Predator instead of Dark Harvest, lane swap
Someone
on them.
check the monitors.
Yeah. Tricked them into Pantheon, that one didn't work out.
That's another pull very early there from Nuguri as the flash comes in. The taunt's good, and he's just dead once again. Celebrity locks down the kill comfortably. Venus has been all over this map, and it's to the detriment of Nuguri almost every time.
Yeah, and Celebrity's going to end up getting very fed off this. Not only has he been able to pick up 2 kills, he's getting the majority of these turret plates, and now that they've actually swapped back, this is actually exactly where Damwon wouldn't want to be swapped in the top lane. They would want to be in the 2v2 in the bottom, because now they're just going to be giving free turret plate gold to Tristana.
Yep, now they don't have the teleport available either, as Hani's up here on the top side of the map feeling very comfortable. Nuguri's just going to run as fast as he can back towards this lane, but you can see the explosive charge working out very well here for Celebrity. He might be able to even grab the next plate from this turret also. Showmaker has been very quiet from the mid lane, did make a 1 roam earlier on in this game, but otherwise not to be able to find too much there, and Nuguri already getting a bit chunked underneath this turret. Celebrity happy in this 1v1.
Yeah, and the more we see this, the more it seems like Damwon is clearly caught completely by surprise by this lane swap by Lowkey.
Yeah.
Hey, the call start does tell you that Nuguri was just hoping to lane against a hapless Spellbook Ornn. Yep. Right? That he's just going to be able to farm for gold, easily complete his cull, but instead he started himself with less base health than he could if he would have done basically any other item.
Yep.
So yeah, he's feeling the brunt of it right now. Lowest gold in the game. That is something we haven't seen yet at Worlds 8 minutes into the game.
Yeah. It's probably something that we've never seen even in this
Look
season
at Celebrity's gold, 5K on the Tristana.
Is this a funnel composition?
I mean, if you're able to funnel your Trist 9 plates before 8 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, it's what it feels like. It's the new age funnel.
Just
like
lane swap and hope the other team has Garen Yuumi and they don't match. It's easy.
Yeah, easy. I mean, I think this was on Ender's list. It was just somewhere after please stop, please stop.
He was
something like that. But this is only the early game, guys. 2,000 gold is what Lowkey Esports have been able to draw out of Damwon, and they are still going to have the inside track onto this Infernal Drake, which is going to spell even more bad news if this game goes any longer than past the mid-game. That's where Lowkey play for. They like playing for the kills.
Yeah.
But so far, so good for Lowkey Esports, and whether they can find these mid-game fights is going to be the question mark here, because they're moving Celebrity all the way around this map, and he's a one-man demolition crew.
Yeah, I mean, Lowkey doesn't have strong mid and late game macro, but if you script out a lane swap early game, you can still do it very well. And the fact that no one does this anymore does mean you can catch people by surprise with it, and that's what we're seeing happening. But it does bring up that overall question we're going to have throughout this whole series of how much do we really care about the early game?
Yeah,
right?
well.
And I think this game is going to be something that tells us here. VCS 0-8 all-time against the LCK. Damwon actually not that great at the first 10 minutes of the game, but then dominate you between 20 and 30 minutes. How much of a hole can they actually be in to have it not matter? Because a 3,500 gold lead at 10 minutes is really big by World's game standards.
But is it big by Damwon game standards is the question. As Shelly is going to be taken down, this is Lowkey Esports just investing into picking up as much global gold as possible, because this is crazy. There's already been 2 turrets taken, and the plates haven't even fallen down. We've still got
they're going to break
3.5 minutes.
All 15 plates. They're likely going to break all 15 plates before 14 minutes, maybe even before 12. This is actually such an efficient and good early game from Lowkey. There's a chance Damwon would be forced into a fight, but they don't want to fight the Trist right now with Nagari just going for more gold items. I don't know if this is the best item choice here by Vlad.
He already has the
They're going for the flank. They're trying it. This could be good for Lowkey.
Exactly right. So we can dive in towards the backside. Good double stun to start this one off. As we do have the Ornhorn blown, it's headed straight towards the Kiana, but it doesn't actually matter. The Trist already taken down. A 1-for-1 so far as Showmaker now dancing around the back. He can go back to Venus as well, setting himself up the kills. The double comes in, and Damwon may have just turned it around already.
Didn't quite see how Celebrity died with his flash and ult up, but that has to be the most critical moment of this fight, because then at the end, Showmaker was able to just kind of style on Lowkey. By all means, that's exactly the fight Lowkey wanted. They were just unable to execute.
Well, really cute double knock up there, but the stopwatch is going to be enough. As Nuclear now looking for Hani, Celebrity and teleported in. Good slow comes forward, and he just needs one more
clean.
That's going to be it. The rocket jump and the Goomba Stompers barrel. One more auto attack, triple kill for Celebrity. And Lowkey back on top again.
7,800 gold, 12 minutes in on Tristana?
That sounds all right.
I'm going to say that's the most gold the player has had at this World Championship at 12 minutes, and he's going to get more plates for himself and another shirt. DNK, back off. Just give him the solo turret gold.
Give him the solo turret gold. We need this for Sun.
He does.
Oh, no.
He did. That was an extra 460
gold,
for Celebrity. He's now at 8,500 gold. 12 and a half minutes in. That's a problem for Damwon.
Yeah, I think Damwon know who's the carry's going to be as we move into the rest of this game. As we'll have a look at this dive. It was just Damwon staying a little bit longer than they should have.
Yeah, Nuclear gets taken very low. Showmaker was still kind of sticking around in that 20% slow instead of a higher percentage slow, and the fact that it was a low-health Yuumi inside a low-health Akali just allows the Trist to go to town.
Yep. RC and the crew feeling pretty good about how Lowkey's done in this early stage. And I'm glad that we got the total gold graph back. Everybody else sitting at about half of what Celebrity has.
Celebrity has 3,500 more gold than the next highest gold player in the game.
Yep.
He has more gold. Well, it's close. The math is wrong on this, so don't pretend that I'm trying to do math on stream. But it's close to having more gold. Like, add the second richest person on Lowkey and Nagari, and then you have Celebrity right now. That's how much gold he has on Trist early game.
And that's how little gold Nagari has this game. Because normally, right, he is put behind. He's often sitting 0-2 like this, but that farm number is often much higher
I was just
than it
waiting
is
in base
this
for
game.
something. Okay, here's an NLR.
Yeah, that's a big stick. Goes, it's full build. Still made it to full build, Jet. It's totally fine.
He hasn't upgraded his boots for his CDR.
Oh, that's true. Okay,
Yeah.
so we're still one item away. Yeah. That combined costs only like 7.
But once you get to 6 items, you're really done.
Yeah.
That's the...
It's Vladimir. He's a late game champion. You need to get those 6 items. His first turret for Damwon does go down. It's going to alleviate some of the global gold issues that they're having. 3,000 going to be that lead, but the alleviation I was telling you about is only going to be short-lived as this inner turret is going to get obliterated. Celebrity turns up and says, no, all of your base is belong to me. Nuclear coming on down, but remember, there is absolutely no range on this Damwon comp. If they can't close distance onto the Tryst, they all just die.
Showmaker is level 11 right now, though, but also a stopwatch being picked up by Celebrity, so I think Damwon's going to try and fight here over the Mountain Drake.
Teleport to come in here, flanking positions from Lowkey. Is the Buster Shot already used? Mountain Drake does get taken here for Lowkey's side, but can they actually win the fight? Supreme display of talent comes down. The Hemoplate is pretty decent as well as Canyon off to the side. The Garen spinning, but is he winning is the real question, as Hani is so incredibly tanky in the front line, and Canyon jumps forward and dies as an afterthought. Celebrity's so big, another round of resets, a triple kill for the Tryst, and Lowkey may have just set themselves up for game 1.
And Max, this is why we play the games. Because these types of things can happen. Watching this fight one more time, all of Lowkey's team composition is about these mid-game team fights. They have the gold exactly where they want, and their strategy, they use the TF ult right at the start so that Akali and Qiyana can't go invisible during the duration of the fight. So they actually burst out the Akali as quickly as possible. The Shroud is useless with the TF ultimate thanks to the fairly recent changes, and then Celebrity does use that stopwatch to buy enough time that he can jump in at the end to clean up kills yet again. So if this were 20 minutes, they would have gone straight to Baron. It's just not.
It's not.
He has the 20-minute items.
Baron isn't going to be here for another 4 minutes, Jay. You got to slow down. Definitely got to slow down. 6,000 gold is the lead.
Celebrity has enough gold that he can go back to base and full buy a Phantom Dancer.
Yeah.
So that's a
Perfectly
16-minute, 11,000 gold Tryst. Cannot emphasize, he has double the gold of his top laner.
Yeah. He's got a 5,000 gold lead over Nuclear.
This is a team effort. It's not just like, wow, Celebrity is amazing. No, it's the fact that he got every turret plate.
It's a funnel comp.
All of the solo gold.
It's just straight up a funnel comp.
And then the fact that Damwon did the Garen Yuumi straight into it, which is like, I feel like lane swapping's dream. That the other team can't have a good sieger early on in the game to punish the bottom lane. And then add that to the fact that we have
in the early game.
Breedmaster Nagari picking Cull, Vladimir, Klepto, and then trying to outplay a 1v3 turret dive. Like,
yeah, Ebenezer Scrooge on the top side of the map. Yep. He's certainly trying to make as much money as possible, but it's not being able to do it this time
at
around.
least his Cull complete in 10 more CS.
That's true.
I mean, it's really paying off.
Maybe that's the turnaround. I mean,
the thing is, it might be.
Yeah,
it still might be.
And I was like, oh, damn, have I just jinxed Lowkey Esports? Well, they're still making moves. They're now towards the top side of the map looking for even more of this global gold, and they have a Mountain Drake, Jad. They have more ability to destroy these neutral objectives as Nuclear coming in looking for a potential flanking play as DNK going to get slowed down. Teleport immediately from Nogari to try and get towards this top side. The final chapter is red and it's getting a few snares as well as a supreme display of talent comes in. 5-point strike to get that first kill onto the Gragas.
Celebrity's alive
Nuclear
though.
Has to run away. Nogari going to turn up, but they are just going to try and get out of there. The Twisted Fate is dead and the back is being channeled. It's Celebrity's turn to go down. The pool is in. Goodbye, Tristana and Jat. The biggest jinx so far of the play-in stage as Damwon win a pretty comfortable team fight.
We said it might be. I mean, the call still hasn't procced, so the power spike's not there yet. He hasn't
you
cashed
said
in.
wait. I didn't say anything like that.
Yeah.
No. This is all on you. This jinxing is all on you, Jat.
And unfortunately, very poorly played team fight by Lowkey. Ornn is not there, and Gragas ultimate is down, so they have the inability to have a strong disengage, and that just allows Nuclear to flash in, chain roots, they get a double stun, thanks to the Qiyana, and then it's really just about getting as much damage down onto Celebrity as possible, and Artifact really way over aggressive on that turn. It is a 5v3 at that point, which just emboldens the rest of Damwon to go through. And then of all people the shutdown could go to.
Yeah. And I actually thought that Venus was like channeling it back, which would have been great, but instead that was the Stand United, which got himself killed whilst standing on top of Celebrity. So, look, that was misexecution. It's okay. Lowkey still have a gold advantage. They still have a huge turret advantage as they've taken out the entire 2 outer rings. Inhibitor turrets are going to be more difficult to hold on to, though, and they have to stray very far into theoretical Damwon territory in order to get anything done from this point. And Damwon have set up their topside vision. Look at this. I mean, the Baron's spawning in 30 seconds. Damwon know exactly where Lowkey are in relation to that objective.
And I think Lowkey should try and fight at the Infernal Drake, and they need to start with this Ornn ultimate. Let's see if they can do it.
Yeah, Ornn comes out, flashed immediately there from Canyon. Good respect, because he's still very squishy on this Qiyana. Nuclear dodging out of the wild cards, but he's very kiteable unless the zoomies are on point.
And now I think this is really bad for Lowkey because they don't have the TF ultimate to stop Showmaker. I think Artifact needs to hold this TF ultimate until fights start, not use it as engages, which is why they're actually not even going into the river, and it's a double Infernal for Damwon.
Yep, they only have Cask and the Buster Shot, which is just not enough when Stand United is so important, when the Ornn is so important, and Artifact, of course, having his Destiny Gate combo on cooldown as well. Looks like moving towards the top side. That's where Celebrity is going to continue trying to get farm on this map. He is 40 CS in the lead from his opposite number, but still 20 behind the clock. There just hasn't been an emphasis on farming this game. Some of the lowest numbers that we've seen so far from a Damwon game, especially on their side.
Showmaker is roughly keeping up with his pace, and Nagari just didn't get to farm for the first 10 minutes. That's why he bought all the items that'll farm for him.
Yeah. He still has a hat.
How do we get here, man?
I don't know, dude.
He's strong enough. Like, yes, Celebrity is still insanely powerful. Almost 13,000 gold, 20 minutes into the game. But Nagari is just as strong as the other team's soul laner, so...
And Venus might just be dead here as Canyon has closed the gap, and it's only a matter of a couple of autos. Nuclear just comes in, presses Q, and gameplays the Shen to death on his Garen. Garen mechanics have been incredibly impressive, Chad.
Yeah, all those assists he's picked up on the Garen.
Are we going to have that conversation, by the way, about the Garen versus the Mundo?
I mean, we can.
Mundo would have been better here?
I haven't seen the Dr. Mundo succeed well. The reason we've talked about it is, personally, I saw Reckless spamming it in solo queue as maybe an alternate to the Garen Yuumi. Theoretically, it's just big melee dude.
Yep.
Yuumi jumps on his back, and then they just run around trying to be tanky.
Yep, and extra healing for a Mundo seems good as well.
One can take Targons, which eventually gets you the Ludens on the Yuumi, and then Yuumi ends up poking. And basically, since the Prowling projectile's range is determined by its proximity to the person that they're on, so in this case it will be Garen, having a fast melee champion is very beneficial. That's why Garen maxing Q and just running around makes the poke so devastating in the Garen Yuumi lane. That's kind of what you're building up towards.
Yeah, I feel like with Mundo, I believe Zoomies more healing the lower health you are as well, so it gives you higher value there. So
and then also you can't poke either
health
of them out that well either, especially once Garen hits level 11 for the later game. But Atlas, this was a 5,000 goal game.
I was trying to distract you.
This was going to be the one. This was going to be what we're... But Lowkey, you know, they get their first win ever against the LCK.
They still have a composition that can play very comfortable 5v5 team fights, and Damwon have a finesse comp, as they generally do. Zero range, need to get the correct flanks, need to get the correct fights, which they were able to get last time, but doesn't mean they're going to get them the entire time. So I wouldn't worry too much. But as far as outplaying in the late game is concerned, Damwon have wrote their name on that particular tactic.
And you know what? In a way, this is going to be a long explanation for something not that important.
Just go for it.
In a way, Nagari benefited from being starved out of the lane and pushed into mid. Do you know why?
Oh yeah, why?
Because he had the Nomad's Medallion. Gold coins only drop if an ally is near you and if you're not getting CS. So the fact that he ran into Showmaker's lane and Showmaker said, this isn't your CS, it's my CS, he just gobbled up all those gold coins, and now he's got a faster Sightstone.
It's incredible. So Nagari, what you're saying to me is Nagari is successfully playing support Vladimir.
With 10,000 gold. He is 20 gold behind Showmaker.
Wow.
Do not recommend this. This is not optimal League of Legends.
Do not do this at home.
This is greedy League of Legends, for sure.
Well, now he's got his Spellbinder. Like, Noguri is teamfight ready.
He's strong.
He's straight up teamfight ready.
Yeah.
Has his 20% CDR from his items, which is what you need if you're Noguri. Doesn't have Transcendence, so I guess wants another 10% from somewhere else, but beggars can't be choosers. But they're only 1,000 gold behind, Jad.
I know.
Not even.
600. And they have Double Infernal, so based on the stat checks, they're stronger.
Yeah.
In team fights.
This is the world we live in. We're just going to have to continue accepting it. 24 minutes into this game, it's Baron Vision that is the aim here, as we knew that Lowkey were probably going to be playing some sort of ARAM-y type style, which is exactly what they're doing, but they do have a Twisted Fate in a side lane because he has that Destiny available to him.
Yeah, really Lowkey needed to be hard forcing fights the last 10 minutes every time the Ornn ultimate was up and just going and going and going. Whenever the game slows down like this, it just gets pretty painful.
Manages to gate out. Okay, nicely done. I thought there might be some CC there, but it looks like Canyon was unable to get there in time with the ground-empowered Q. Damwon now needing to protect their base. Remember, the first 6 turrets have already been taken by Lowkey, so if Damwon lose control of one of their side lanes, then it's pretty quick that Celebrity tears through a turret like this. You can see inside track is going to be there. Big combo comes down as the You and Me has to be utilized, and they lose their inhibitor turret, but now maybe Damwon have found their team fight, but the final chapter doesn't quite work. The Ornn looking for the stuns, but doesn't get thrown back at Showmaker. Dives into the backline. Artifact is going to be his target, is now Celebrity. In amongst 4 members, that's not what you want as the hard carry of your team.
Celebrity!
It is, as Nuclear's already gone down. Noguri can't find his way into the fight, has a snipe into the backline onto the Twisted Fate, but look at this Tristana, already able to take down Canyon, now creating the space as Noguri, he pulled, so Venus is going to get taken down, and now Showmaker and Noguri versus the world. The brand of Damwon Gaming is Celebrity, taken down to the GA, and unfortunately, if you go up against these two, you are asking for trouble, and it's a Noguri triple kill to get the ace.
Oh my goodness, Lowkey feels like they are so close to breaking this game open. They even had the upgraded Infinity Edge
they had the
on
Mega
Celebrity.
Edge.
And because of the turrets and Trist, one team fight could have actually just won the game. So the margins that Damwon is playing with here are so incredibly thin. But to watch this fight, Gragas gets nothing done. Canyon makes sure of that. And then the rest of the fight is really just about watching Celebrity and whether or not he can get his damage off, and seeing also how Showmaker and Noguri avoid the Trist damage unless they have cooldowns available. So yes, Celebrity is incredibly strong, and he's able to crit Canyon to death right there, but now in this 3v3, it's the pool. Showmaker's sitting back. He weaves an E in at some point here to get Celebrity. As soon as he's in the brush, somehow that doesn't get the minion. That allows them to proc the GA. Otherwise, with how much damage, the Tristan has taken the full health bar in a second and a half, maybe 2, but the triple kill goes to Scrooge McDuck. And he also does 5k damage in that team fight.
Whoa. Scrooge McDuck. Not Ebenezer anymore. We're going to the cartoon version because this shouldn't be real, Jad. This just shouldn't be real. Still 6,000 for Celebrity. He's doing the very best he can. Just doesn't seem to be enough, especially when the rest of his team is so anemic. He's taken every resource on this map, and he did play that last team fight relatively well. I liked how aggressively he jumped in. I liked that he was turning for the opportunistic targets. It just... that feeling of inevitability is coming back, and I feel like Damwon are actually doing this on purpose. Like, they're challenging themselves. They're like, how far behind can we be before we win?
What if we just didn't lane swap thing at all?
What if we just didn't play the first 15 minutes of the game?
The thing is, I actually do feel like they were completely surprised. They would have been they would have been actually lackadaisical in their prep, because us casters were expecting Lowkey to lane swap at some point. And Damwon probably said, well, let's just see. It'll be fine. And I'm sure if they would have lost to it, that they would have had something ready for it in the next game, which we'll probably see in the rest of the series. But it's not looking like they're even going to lose to it, as they pulled from 5,000 gold behind to now 2,500 gold up with a progressively larger Vladimir.
There's something beautifully ironic about a Korean team being surprised by a lane swap. There's a real beauty there, isn't there?
That is...
It all comes full circle, Jat, as we've got a defense of this outer turret that's successful from Lowkey.
These players are so young.
Yeah.
They just like heard tales of lane swaps while they're in like
Yep.
grade school.
And Nuggery's like, what? A lane swap? What a terrible meta. I can't style on people 1v1? I would quit the game instantly.
He wouldn't be a top laner.
No, he wouldn't.
No, there's no
he
way.
Would be a mid laner, definitely. And he already is in one of their games so far, as that's a decent stun onto Honey, but gets to the safety of his outer turret. Relative safety, I might add.
Yeah, 2016 summer split is when lane swapping
All
went
of the
away.
Forge Guard looking for Canyon. He is the squishy option, but unable to get there in time and goes invisible. Picking up some of that grass, which is very handy to have in your back pocket. As Beryl looks to be a little bit bored, just you and meing around his team. Is that a bird?
It hasn't built in the Medjais yet, but it's because he rushed the Ludens. At this point, they're just poking. This is what you try and do with the Garen Yuumi as much as possible, and then you force Lowkey to try and engage into Yuumi's great counter-engage.
X-Flash not going to go in. And you can see Damwon are also just playing around the fact that they prepared their side lanes and Lowkey didn't.
Yeah.
So they get themselves the bottom outer turret. They just have better control of this map. And it's when you can read the living map of League of Legends a little bit better than your opponent in these sort of stages that you see sort of skill gaps like this when it comes to getting through these late games. And it's why Damwon have looked so much stronger is because in these moments, they know what they need to do, and they play through it with much more aplomb than a lot of these other teams that can be a little bit indecisive. Looking at you, Mega.
And I mean, Lowkey to get here went
that's
1-1
cute.
with Mega, 1-1 with HKA, but now with the Mountain Drake and Triss, they can get this. Will Showmaker catch any? He doesn't even catch a champion with that sweeper.
Yeah, is Canyon actually going to get
Canyon,
one?
he has two control
oh, no,
words.
he
He
just
should
takes
drop-
some water out of the pit. He doesn't know
Drop
that
something.
There was some Baron blood in there, but he didn't notice, and the Baron is just snuck. 2 members, and that's all they need. Damwon, they were right there. That's why you can never trust the Rift Scuttler. He'll lie to you. He'll lie to you.
Yep. You may think, well, there was a very brief moment in time where it did show the whole river.
Yep,
But
I
ever
remember
since
that.
that was fixed, it does not show the whole river, so you can sneak past the edges of it. And stuff like that, Max, makes this series so hard to make statements about.
I know.
Because in a lot of ways, Damwon have looked bad, weak, vulnerable. The early games, not dealing with lane swaps well, actually just fighting the full mid-game team fight composition, 5v5 when they're strong. They're things you shouldn't do. They're fundamentals, they're steps that Damwon is skipping, like keeping vision on the Baron pit and actually even having like a single blue trinket to use, considering they've all gone sweeper for some reason. There's just things you don't see normally.
Like a support doing the most damage in the game.
That's a little more likely for
That's
Garen
true.
Yuumi.
I mean,
for
that's
sure,
Garen Yuumi.
because he's the Ludens. But
You're a little bit funneling more gold into.
yeah, they've gone 5 sweeper. It's because they have double sightstone. So they're saying that, hey, we have enough wards, we don't need extra trinket
Wait,
wards.
has Nogri actually finished the quest?
Oh yeah, he finished it at 22 minutes.
All right,
Because he got all those gold coins.
Yeah.
From, being
Just doesn't
behind.
have any wards right now, so it was
Yeah.
confusing me.
He might actually sell his sightstone now that he's seemingly max items. But he's
All
coming
right.
for the TP flank.
Looking for the team fight as Canyon is off to the side as well. Nogri gets in. He's got the Home Guard enchantment. And there's the Hemo Plague right in there. So much damage, but the exhaust comes in very, very late, and they haven't gone down just yet. The GA is now popped as DNK off to the backside as Showmaker is going to punish him. The fadeaway jump shot on the barrel, but it's straight into the death chamber as now Nuclear gets buster shotted out of there. But how much disengage is remaining? Looks like the answer is enough.
It will buy time, though, for Damwon to get this third Infernal
no.
Drake.
Wow.
Bloodthirster being on Celebrity, though, is pretty beneficial for these longer fights in stopping him from being burst out by a full Vlad combo if he's able to get that overshield up.
Yeah, and 6 items when you have the Ornn upgrades as well feels a whole lot better. So that Molten Edge is now going to be helping, given the fact that it's all about sort of item slot efficiency when you're getting into very late game or very bad AD carry territory.
Yeah, just see a standard TP flank, and really Vladimir flanking at this stage in the game just buys time, because you must deal with him. So he burns a Shental, Ornn is just kind of sitting around, he gets a late exhaust. All the while, the rest of Damwon is just kind of playing the rest of the fight, and finally Showmaker finds someone who's isolated Great job flashing under the cask.
Yeah,
and
uses it as a gap close. I like it.
Right.
As we come back to live, we've got Canyon diving in onto Venus. Supreme display of talent, locks up Artifact for a little while longer as Nuclear is going to come in. Canyon goes into stealth for a moment as now Nogri's going to find DNK. He's body slamming, trying to get out of there. Meanwhile, 4 versus 2 underneath this inhibitor turret is now taking damage with 2 siege minions. And the Baron just wears off, as they're not going to be able to defend for long enough. They haven't lost an inhibitor just yet of Damwon Gaming, but they've lost 8 turrets so far. They're ahead by 3,000 gold, but it looks like this Lowkey team just don't even know, because they're still playing on the front foot.
It's been a wacky game, Atlas. Celebrity still has the ability to win the game if he's able to have a great team fight, but this Yuumi poke is definitely pushing Lowkey back.
And they are respecting Nogari so much as well, and you can understand exactly why, especially they're standing 5 members on top of one another. That is the juiciest Teemo Plague that you have ever seen. Damwon do push out of their base. They have survived the Baron buff, and they haven't lost an inhibitor yet. But there's only so many more turrets that you can give up now, Jat. They have 3 left.
Yep.
And if you lose those, the game becomes pretty hard to hold on to.
Especially against a ADTF. You can just jump in your base and kill them at any moment. Now the question will be, does Lowkey actually try and do this weird split push where TF snipes inhibitor turrets and they try and make the game really crazy? Or do they just 5v5 team fight and go for champion kills like they're used to doing? And I still think that that's probably what they should be trying to do, but I really want to see Artifact use the TF ult in the middle of a team fight and have them focus down Showmaker and Canyon, the 2 champions that just zip in and out of invisibility in these fights where TF can completely counter them. That's what I feel like Lowkey needs to try and find a way to do.
Canyon going to throw out that Q, looking for more as Duskblade pops, clears out some vision. The Baron is going to be available in 40 seconds. The fight breaks out now. Damwon should be able to push and win, to be perfectly honest. They have so much extra damage with these 3 Infernals. And it looks like Lowkey understand that. They're not going to allow Damwon to dictate the flow of this game. He's going to keep trading some minion waves in this mid lane. Lane's completely even off to the side lanes, but I'd like to see Lowkey try and get some pressure from there because they do have Artifact, Teleport, and the Destiny available. And of course, Celebrity has his TP available as well. Hani with the Spellbook also able to maneuver back to his TP pretty easily.
Just poking
on the top side. Yeah, exactly. It's all sort of
going
down. And I kind of want to ask you all these questions, Jad, about like, oh, well, if you're in this position, what should you be doing? But I think the rest of this game really does need to be held into account, right?
Yeah.
Because there's just been insanity up until this point. And so Damwon are answering the ARAM with another ARAM.
Well, against Ornn TF, if you do split up, it's exactly when Lowkey's going to want to fight. So if Damwon wants to have an opportunity to clear sideways, they have to be really sure that Lowkey's not in engage range. So they're kind of pushed into 5v5 based off of the enemy team composition. But with Triple Infernal, they're just they're down for taking a 5v5. And Yuumi is great in close fights like this.
Yeah, look to see Damwon pull away and try and find themselves a peel-off fight. The Baron down to about 6,000.
Also, Damwon has pretty poor Baron damage with no AD carry.
Yeah.
It could be stolen!
DK, yeah, it's a 50-50. He deals it away easily as the final chapter comes in. There's a supreme display of talent, but not exactly the high value that they really wanted to be. And the stone plate from Hani did so much work. No kills actually went down, and Damwon, they just lose a Baron. They leash it for their opponents, and now they're trying to get out.
But they can interrupt recalls while Trist tries to push mid. How long can they play this game for? Because Trist would have a chance of ending the game if they had minions. They don't have minions.
They don't, but they are going to be able to take down this inhibitor.
That was close.
Not quite enough. Not quite enough, but I really did like the idea. Completely understand your excitement there, Jat. 2,000 gold is still the lead for Damwon as Elder Drake is available and Nogari's teleported here towards this bottom side.
Nuclear use flash ult in the past fight.
Showmaker.
He's going to use it here.
Yep, 4 members turn up in an instant as there's the Hemo Plague. Nogari dives on forward. It's another objective secured. by this Gragas, but I don't think it's going to be enough as the rest of the fight is being won by Damwon. Showmaker taking matters into his own hands. 5-point strike. Feels like a 50-point strike at the moment as the final chapter comes on in. Celebrity, how many rocket jumps do you have? The answer is 2 right here as Nuclear not going to be able to dive that far as Artifact now is going to fall. The GA not going to keep him alive under that inner turret, and Damwon, they may have lost every objective that they've gone for, but it doesn't seem to matter because 4 people are dead on Lowkey's side of the map.
How many things have to happen for Lowkey to win this game? They have a Baron steal. They have the Elder secure in another 50-50. They had the lane swap. They had the Superfed Triss. They have the inhibitor down. Watching this one more time, Damwon doesn't pull off early enough, and at 1,500 health, the Gragas can solo burst the Baron. Massive plays coming out of DNK to get both of these steals on the Gragas, but then this fight right here again, the Vladimir damage is just gonna crush you when you're grouped up like that, but another perfect smite. If they lose this fight, though, the game's over.
Yep. But I mean, honestly, Canyon wasn't there, so that was a pretty comfortable smite there for DNK. The first one, though, Canyon was out of the Baron pit. They were trying to leave it. They did not want to go for that 50-50. So we come back to live. This inhibitor turret is going to go down. They're going to answer the open inhibitor on their side of the map as well. Damwon now pull ahead, 5,000 gold. But chat, this is a weird and wonderful series already.
The Ornn ultimate had previously cleared the minions, so Damwon had to wait for this, but now they have 20 seconds of 5v3 against Baron minions, which are actually fairly helpful in these situations, but they're going to try and end the game here, it looks like.
Yep, trying to go for it. 10 seconds until DNK, 7 until Venus. He can get in there with a Stand United as Artifact in a lot of trouble. Noguri gets in with the combo. The final chapter comes in a little bit late, but it is going to be enough as Hani goes down as well. They're actually saving Celebrity until last as Nuclear using that courage to tank up so much of the extra damage. Showmaker was taken down though, and now Noguri needs so many different pulls to try and survive this one. As Celebrity needs a few auto attacks. The taunt was fantastic. Now Canyon into the GA. Celebrity is well and truly cleaning this one up as there's a teleport. They're going for the end of the game as it's only Nuclear and Beryl that are there to try and defend, and Celebrity gets up topside first.
So Baron buff is gone, but if Nuclear and Beryl can't get back, Celebrity would be able to end this game.
Yep.
I think Lowkey's gonna win.
I think they can probably do it as Nuclear is trying his very best. He's got a dead man's plate, but can they actually get there? Remember, super creeps are going to be coming out of this Damwon base, and Nuclear is going to get there relatively
I don't think he can stop him. It's going to be close. It's going to be close. They're really fast.
2 versus 1 is there's another final chapter. Can Nuclear do it? He needs to buy so much time. And the Buster Shot
Gragas and Shedder here too.
Is doing his best to try and get through. He does go down to his GA, but now DNK has to be dealt with. Beryl is out from the Garen, and they've won the game. Lowkey Esports upset Damwon in game 1.
The VCS take their first win over the LCK in their history here in game 1 of this best of 5.
Oh my God.
That wasn't what we were expecting. I'm going to be completely honest. That was a little bit surprising.
So I was a bit caught for words because I didn't know how to say that wasn't what we were expecting with enough emphasis. Because everything about this game was completely unexpected.
It was bonkers.
Yeah, Lowkey going for a lane swap. Lowkey successfully orchestrating that lane swap.
Yep.
Damwon having literally 0 range apart from a Vladimir on their squad, and I guess a Yuumi if you're going to count her. Losing with 3 Infernal Drakes.
Yeah.
Losing the smite.
You can already see Damwon are not messing around. They're saying no Ornn, no Trist. Those we think were the 2 biggest things that were keys to your lane swap, and they want to try and get rid of those as much as possible. Now, if I'm Lowkey, you probably lane swap again because it works so incredibly well that you're willing to run it back one more time. But we're gonna have to see what Lowkey decides to do. Is this series has taken on a much more serious tone after Damwon dropped a game?
Yeah, exactly. And the Renekton is going to be locked in once again. It's like we're going back to day 1 for these for Damwon's group as well, where we had Renekton first pick all the time. DNK going to get back towards the Gragas though. Certainly was a big pick for him, and a lot more displacement available with the Thresh paired alongside it. So Lowkey Esports, we'll see whether they do have any more crazy quirks to bring out They only need 3 wins. If you can cheese yourself 3 wins, you're in the group stage.
That's absolutely true. Damwon, though, it really did feel like they were playing pretty loose in that game 1. Both from their picks and bans, their overall 5v5 team composition just not really making that much sense, and an unfamiliarity with Garen Yuumi. Now, we got the Taliyah Renekton, just deadly gank combo in any solo lane they throw at it, and Nuclear back on his Kai'Sa.
This feels like Damwon has said, okay, that's enough of the sillies. We're not going to play the crazy compositions that we were last time, and Artifact is back on the Twisted Fate as a response. Doesn't necessarily know who he's up against there in that mid lane, if that's indeed where the Twisted Fate is going, most likely. Of course, we haven't seen that one flexed too often, as Vladimir is going to be respected and banned away. I like that Lowkey Esports do this, though. They don't just assume the Renekton is going top lane because Showmaker didn't have such a great performance on it earlier on in the week.
Yeah, I completely agree on that one, knowing the lane swaps are possible, and actually just targeting out the magic damage solo laners that Nagri is most successful with. This is a composition, though, because of the Kai'Sa and Taliyah, that could still go double physical damage solo lanes and be okay because they have enough magic damage elsewhere.
Yeah, and Taliyah does a hell of a lot of damage from the jungle as well. Canyon has shown quite proficiency on that one, as Wife Steal bottom lane is locked in unless the Lucian's going to be flexed, but I like it. A lot of control in that lane, and what have we said? Attack Damwon through their bottom lane. I want to add to that, because I personally think that if you're going to attack Damwon that way, it can't be the normal attack bottom lane where you teleport down there, where your jungle is waiting and you 4-man dive the turret. I feel like in order to beat Damwon, you need to just straight up beat them in the 2v2, and that might be something that they can do here, as Beryl's Alistar does get picked up, but still isn't going to have a lot of control in the early stages. And Kiana, once again, going to be picked up as well.
Solo lane Pyke.
We're doing it again.
By the way.
This has worked against LCK before, Jat. I don't like remembering it, but it has. It was then nerfed to hopefully never do that ever again. But now it's doing it again.
They're going to try it, and this probably means they're lane swapping. Because, try as you may to stop solo lane Pyke from existing. His wave clear is basically non-existent. Even after he gets Tiamat, it is not that good. So, with all that being said, Pyke still wins a lot of solo lane games in solo queue because you can get to level 6 quickly, you can roam a lot, and you generate a lot of gold with your ultimate. So, what I'm expecting to happen here is either Hani just plays incredibly passive in the 1v1 laning phase, or he just completely abandons the lane and roams from basically level 1, and they just don't try in CS. We'll see.
I'd like the roaming from level 1 strategy, because I think laning against Nogari's Renekton on a Pyke sounds like an awful time.
Yep.
I guess, you know, you've got more like leeway in trades, because you just get to slink away afterwards, get all of your health back for free, things like that. But this is going to be a scorned Damwon Gaming. A Damwon Gaming that weren't expecting their first loss here at this tournament to be in Game 1 versus Lowkey Esports. They stole the first game away with a really unique strategy that paid off. They ticked a whole lot of the boxes that we needed them to, but can they do it? 2 more games, and can they do it 2 more games in a row to get a 3-0? It would be insane. Let's get into game number 2.
Oh, man.
Sepia mode. My favorite. I've been forged in this mode, Jack.
So we were only on the screen for a hot second, but Nuggery started with Cull again.
Okay, that's good to know.
So
this time on a Renekton. We've had a slight issue. Someone failed to load into the game. I believe it might have been Nuclear, based on the action that's happening on the screen right here.
Yep. If there's a threat of a lane swap happening again, I think Cull would be a very bad first item.
Well, I mean, it was a relatively bad first item in the last game, but
when they lane swapped.
And I know they lost, right, Jad? But should we say that the Vladimir didn't work, or should we say that it worked? Because actually, his scoreline looked real good.
Yeah.
You know, he cashed in that Cull in the end.
He did.
He completed his quest on his Nomad's medallion.
He did. And then Tristana had 3 items by 3 minutes.
Yeah, and also, like, they entered underneath Nexus turrets and the Tristana had teleport up. So there were a lot of things that happened that game that were required to happen in order for Lowkey to pick up the victory? And are they going to be able to have all of these ducks in a row?
Yeah, because my opinion right now in this matchup is that so many very unlikely things to happen happened sequentially.
Yeah.
And then Damwon ended up losing.
Do you want to try and go? You were talking about a reference that you wanted to make. Do you want to try and go for it here? You got plenty of time to muse.
I do. Basically, this is a conversation we had backstage. Casters do this sometimes. They say, I was trying to go for this. Give me ideas. And I was like, I wanted to do like how many licks to the center of a Tootsie Pop. But like every lick would be some miraculous thing in the game, and the center of the Tootsie Pop would be a Lowkey victory.
Yeah.
Right?
I think you explained it beautifully just there.
That took way longer than like a quick little quip you throw in like the moment of a cast.
That's why we have pauses like this.
And then Medic rephrased in a pretty succinct way. He said they got a 1 out of 100 play to work several times in a row.
Yeah.
Right? Which is close. Like it's pretty unlikely that you can just pull out lane swaps against an LCK team and have a 5,000 gold advantage with 3 turrets and 15 turret plates on your Trist 15 minutes into the game. That's incredibly unlikely.
And also, how do you convince Damwon Gaming to play Garen Yuumi for the first time and have no siege potential in that sort of situation?
Yeah,
so
and have the Vladimir start call, which apparently is just a common thing now.
Yeah, I mean, I did get word that he's been playing a lot of the old Cull Vladimir in solo queue and has done it at least once or twice. I think he did it in the Kesper Cup last year, so I was called a bit of a dum-dum for forgetting.
So again, in a game that he was seeing as low consequence.
Yeah, against KG Seoul or something like that, apparently. I'm not entirely sure who was up against there. So, look, he has done it before. This is not a new occurrence for investment banker Nogari, nor is it just a disrespect play. And that's obvious because he's taken it again, even if he is on a different champion.
Yeah, well, he's probably saying, all right, I'm going to be able to free farm as much as possible up against this Pyke, but we're going to have to see what type of early game moves Lowkey make, because we know playing them standard isn't Lowkey's strategy or the best way for them to win. So mixing things up is definitely what they want to do. As we were about to be getting back in the game, but I got my observer on the other side, and it looked like someone else may have just DC'd as well. So
we may have ping-ponged over to the other side of the map, as both of the 80 carries in this game are struggling just a little bit by the looks of things. Celebrity did pop out of the client, like you were alluding to just there. This gives us a bit of time, chat.
Yep.
This gives us a little bit of time to talk about what exactly happened to the Pyke to stop it from doing what Wonder did to SKT at MSI.
I'm going to pull up the patch notes for you.
Yeah, pull them up.
Yeah,
you don't need to.
You wouldn't believe it, but I don't have it completely memorized. Are you
sure?
Yeah.
Is that why you were kicked off the balance team?
Yeah, because I didn't remember.
You failed your last test.
Everything happened. Hey. No. All right, so nerfs for Pyke, specifically for Soul Lane, came in 9.13. So one of the big things is the Q, especially like the tap Q, doesn't do AoE damage like it once does. It no longer deals 30% damage to minions beyond the closest. The stab attack damage, which used to be 150%, is now 100. So a bunch of nerfs. But to kind of compensate that, he gets more move speed with his W. Oh, and also his E doesn't do any damage to non-champions. So like you used to be able to E through a wave, poke it with your Q, proc the Tiamat, auto it again, and the wave would basically be gone. Now if you do that, you just maybe get 1 CS. You've used all your spells and you've killed 1 minion. And then further, that left him a little weak. So in 9.14, his death from below his ultimate does a lot more gold.
Yeah.
A lot.
So basically what they've done is they've removed his ability to kill minions, and they've made his risk-reward factor much higher. You know, much more variance, right? So if you do manage to get those kills, it is way more money. And I want to bring this back to this matchup, chat.
Yeah.
Because I think that if you're going to be a gambling man, or if you're going to be a gambling team, this is Lowkey's time to do it, right? They are certainly the David in the David versus Goliath. And in that story, David comes out on top, but he has to do some funny business in order to get there, and that's exactly what Lowkey are trying to go for. And if you go for these sort of gamble plays as soon as Pyke hits level 6 in a mid-game, something like that, and you inject a whole bunch of extra gold that shouldn't even be in the game into your team, that could be the snowball that they're looking for.
Yeah, and then it's a question of what can they do with that snowball because they're from behind. You brought up David Goliath, and because there's not another thing immediately grabbing my attention.
Got it.
Have you ever read the book called David and Goliath by Malcolm Gladwell?
No, I haven't.
Okay, sorry. I'm going to mess this up.
I thought it was a Bible story.
If the producers want me to like do something else, okay, they just said I can do whatever I want, so it's fine. I'm going to tell the story.
Yeah.
He kind of claimed that the David and Goliath story wasn't as underdog as it's been told beforehand.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a couple of factors that go into this.
He analyzed David versus Goliath?
Yeah, he does.
I think they're really trying to distract you.
Like, you can do whatever you want. We're just going to put this exciting stuff on your screen to stop you from talking about this thing that has no relevance to League of Legends.
This is to save the viewers that are getting bored.
I think I can pull it back to League.
Go.
As we watch the highlights from the upset in the first game. So, part of the legend is that like David threw a rock at him, hits Goliath, wins the fight because he's this huge guy that no one could fight. But if you think about it, if David's like a really skilled guy with the slingshot, he has the range advantage on Goliath to begin with, which should put him in an advantage.
I see where you're going with this.
Secondarily, if it really is like this mythically large person, he's probably got some disorder like giganticism or something, and he did. Once again, I'm messing this up. I clearly don't have it here, but he's like, oh yeah, and people that were that big also had poor vision. So not only do you have this incredibly skilled guy with the slingshot and rocks, you have this guy who can't see well. And these rocks are just being hurled towards him.
Okay.
So, like, really, who do you favor in that matchup? The slingshot over the blind dude.
Probably the slingshot, now that you've explained it so eloquently.
If that was the case. So, in League of Legends...
To bring it back to this,
who would have the advantage? Someone who's played 50 lane swap games, or someone who hasn't done it since 2016 because you haven't had to because it's been bad.
Or a team that has range versus a team that doesn't.
Yeah,
right?
Or if a team can see because the monitors were unplugged, like was clearly the strategy.
Hey, there we go.
Okay, full circle.
There are a lot of references that made some sense. And speaking
I do like David and Goliath from like a story building perspective though. So
all right, let me just fill you guys in on exactly what's gone wrong and why we're talking about David and Goliath stories, even though it was absolutely beautifully done, Jet. Fantastic work. A player failed to load into the game properly, guys. So League officials have offered a remake of Picks and Bans with the same champions, and it was accepted. The new champion select is being done off broadcast now, which is why we're able to have these incredibly engrossing extra stories and added content for you guys, and why we've been here for quite some time.
Yeah. And apparently we're in the last minute of loading, so the David and Goliath matchup, which you now don't know which team I'm referring to, is about to restart.
Exactly. I don't actually know who David is anymore.
Yeah.
I think David was the one with all of the extra range, but as we move into
all the
game
weapons and the range and speed, the agility.
Well, guys, we are out of those replays, and you know what that means. We are moments away from restarting this game, and hopefully everyone is going to stay in it. Damwon certainly still have to be the favorites, but after the David and Goliath story, I'm starting to question everything. And after that first game, I already was. I was already vulnerable, and now Jat's had this amazing story, and I think I'm almost ready to flip flop. I don't know.
I mean, upsets are possible.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the Miracle on Ice?
I haven't.
It's like an American sports story.
Yeah, I haven't really.
I tried to pitch this.
I know a few American
two
sports stories.
Unnamed NA teams. There were two of them, so you'll never know who I'm talking about.
Okay.
Before 2014 quarterfinals in Korea, because they'd just been getting destroyed by Korean teams in scrims all the time. I'm like, you know what? Upsets have happened. I just told them all these stories about American history. I'm like, yeah, but I really just don't think we're going to win. Of course you don't think you're going to win. And then they lost.
Yeah, they did. They did lose. I remember that.
Yeah. I wonder who they scrimmed, says Wonder.
Wow, look, he has some pretty cool strats. Just taking credit for Lowkey's incredible play. Wonder, that was low. That was low. Let them have this. My goodness.
Look at that individual gold at 15 by Celebrity is Tristan in game 1, and 47.6% of the team's damage.
That's a lot of percent of the team's damage, especially over a game that's that long as well. It's normally these sort of snowbally games or low kill games where it's like one team fight is actually the majority and you've not fought at all, and then you get to 40 minutes. And I'm giving away the fact that I'm an LCK commentator here just a little bit. But you have the AD carry get 50% of the damage because he's actually just the only damage dealer and they've only done one fight, so the percentages are a little bit confusing. That is not the case for this game. Celebrity was right in the faces of Damwon Gaming, and then he was the one that won it towards the end. I like this. I remember I commentated him back when he was playing for Saigon Jokers a really long time ago.
Wow.
And I believe this squad as well had a lot of players from like Team Friendship or something. The team that didn't actually do a lot of... Friends Forever Gaming, that's right. Yeah. They didn't actually qualify into any of the IWCIs, IWCQs or the play-ins, but they just had the best name.
Yeah.
Was Gaming also from that league?
You mean G2?
No, Gaming.
I know, I'm kidding.
Yeah, it's 2 Gs. It's 2 Gs. It's different, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. So far, nothing's happened in this game, guys. We actually haven't really acknowledged that the game started again. It has, in fact. That's what's on at the moment, as you can see. 200 gold is currently the lead for Damwon, just in the laning phase. But it's only 2 minutes in. I feel like we've been talking for a really long time, but there just hasn't been very much League of Legends. We've just been learning about stories and having a philosophy lesson from Jat, which I very much appreciated.
Yeah, and they're definitely not lane swapping in the early game in this one, so I want to track...
that's a field
Showmaker, you don't have spells left. Doesn't look like DNK does either, though, so should be fine.
Yeah, Showmaker actually very aggressive. I got very confused because, of course, Canyon was playing the Qiyana, so I thought I was checking the smite of the Talia. And their faces aren't super different as well, if you have a look at the icons.
Yeah.
I was still
Now
sure
the jungler is going to try and invade DNK. It's a group effort to try and deny him here, and they actually have...
Well, we're looking for it. The smite does come in, so DNK locks down the red buff. Canyon doesn't go any further forward. He doesn't have his blue buff just yet, does Canyon? And he knows that DNK is actually very low.
And flashless.
Yeah. Threaded volley does get him out of there, is now stunned underneath the turret is Hani. He doesn't have very much farm, Jat, so I think that your assessment of the Pyke is working out thus far.
Yeah. Although he is sustaining fairly well. You can see he's gone with as many potions as possible.
Yeah. Bit of a demolish there.
Combo.
Gonna find it, so Hani successfully saves himself on that one. Bone Skewer, but outside of turret range is Nogri, so will survive for the moment. Getting a bit dangerous, and that was Canyon just a little bit slow on the seismic shove.
Yeah, you basically have to press the buttons at the same time, and that gets even more close when the Pyke builds Mercury Treads. But early on, Lowkey doing fine in the lanes that they're expected to do fine in. Yep. And also dealing with the very aggressive invading of Damwon early on.
I like how you're saying fine, and fine is like a 16 CS disadvantage at 4 minutes on the top side of the map. Like, Nogri has over double his farm, but like, they're doing great. This is really good.
I have this, I don't know, it's a curiosity. Anytime I see, well, we're going to watch this dive in top lane. Anytime I see a weird champion in a solo lane and like challenger, I always try and dig into it. But we're going to watch Canyon try and get this dive off. If they can get the combo properly, they take most of his health. But for now, they're just going to go for turret plates.
Yep, it's another demolish proc comes on in there as there's the flash. But he gets out of the way. Seismic shot still lands, though, and the stun was still primed. The deep water dive is in, but he's down to about 200 health. He should be okay.
He's going to die.
Yeah, Bone Skewer comes forward as Nogari wants the autos. Doesn't get them. First blood once again to Lowkey Esports.
Nogari going so aggressive with Canyon. They really just brute forced that gank. And missing the flash on top of blowing a lot of damage into Hani's Aftershock means he doesn't take fatal damage, and it makes the follow-up gank by DNK quite easy. Unwilling to just take a huge advantage from the Cull plus CS advantage, they had to go for more, and they get denied.
Well, over goes DNK. Yeah, he is easily able to smite that one away. That denies Canyon level 4 as well as denying him the blue buff. A real disaster here for Damwon to start this game off, but probably still not as bad as how things went in game 1.
Not yet, but you can see here the Aftershock eats most of the damage from the Talia combo. Otherwise, that is a fatal kill. If they were able to get the original stun, they likely would have had the 100-0 damage. That's why Renekton was near 100% presence in the LCK towards the end of the year, because everyone was very good at this, whether it was Talia Renekton or Elise Renekton in generating kills. Yet for some reason here, Nuggery messes up his flash range and is unable to get Hani.
Yeah, so first it was Canyon messing up when to use the seismic shove, and then it was flash range on Nuggery that was messing things up. And Hani even went back in, right? And the seismic shove was just landed by good aim on Canyon's behalf, and the Ruthless Predator wasn't actually timed out just yet, so Nogari gets that one back as well. And despite that working, Still wasn't enough to lock down the Pyke. Pyke continuing to be a problem when used in a solo lane for a Korean team.
Yeah. So,
I still have nightmares, Chad.
About the Pyke?
Yes.
Murdering SKT in Game 5 of MSI?
Mm-hmm. Thanks for clarifying. Yeah.
Well, just in case the viewers wanted in on your
Yes.
Your sleep problems.
Yeah, that's where the nightmares come from. That exact Pyke.
He was so fast. Do you remember that replay where he just zoomed down through the...
I do remember that replay, Jab. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Anything else you want to talk about?
How he ult just resets over and over.
Oh, those sacks of gold. Max, you remember the sacks of gold that he had delivered to his team? Well, remember Canyon turning up in the mid lane, lands another seismic shove, and that's what happens when you don't have Aftershock. Showmaker picks up the ground, throws it at Twisted Fate, and he dies.
And they burned the flash on Artifact, so that will completely limit his ability to roam and now kind of opens up the map for Showmaker. How quickly can they use this advantage? Because there is still the Qiyana ultimate. This is a 4-man crash dive.
Yeah, that's the flash headbutt pole. Celebrity immediately gets taken down. The hook lands onto Canyon, and Beryl had tanked up the turret for so long, but that's Showmaker that turns up. And teleport comes down. The flash play. The cow is turned into mincemeat as Showmaker finds the ultimate onto one, but it's not the target that he wanted. Nuclear, are you going to press R? The answer is no. Doesn't want to dive into 3 people as Venus. Good sidestep there as Nuggery just going to finish off some plates on the bottom side of the map. Looks like leftovers for the Crocodile.
Such a sweet flash play by Venus right there, making the blast cone the ally by displacing at the last second. So even though that was a very quick transition for Damwon from the kill mid to immediately going bottom, we're going to watch it one more time. And this is just a route. And normally, actually, when you see this gank, it would just be a route into an immediate seismic shove. But this was technically dodgeable by Artifact. Just well aimed by Canyon at the very end. And Infernal actually goes over to Lowkey. First Infernal of the series for them.
Yep, Damwon going to lose it. Next Drake is going to be that Mountain Drake yet again. I believe same order of Drakes as it was in game number 1. So we'll see whether it might even be the 3 Infernals. Maybe Lowkey gets it, and maybe that's actually a bad omen for them, because apparently in this series, if you get 3 Infernal Drakes, you lose the game. It's very perplexing. You've got Nuggery still at almost double the CS of Hani, so I think that things need to continue happening around this Pyke, otherwise he's just going to fall further and further behind.
So here's the thing.
Tell me the thing.
With solo lane Pyke. I don't think he needs CS to be successful. When I look at challenger solo lane Pyke players, their CS per minute's like 4.5. So low. Because
those playing at home, that's under half of what good CS is.
Good CS is 10 per minute, maybe 9.5. And crazy solo queue games that happen here in the US, it's probably like 8. I've been watching a lot of Tracking the Pros, and they're just killing each other everywhere. But yeah, so like Pykes are at 4, and other champions are at 8. And he does so much stuff outside of lane that he just follows like different gold values than other champions. Like a Pyke with 5 CS per minute can be just as, if not more effective in a team fight than a Renekton with 9, given the right situation. So just as we're looking at this, the gold could potentially slingshot around a fair bit, because Damwon could be up 1,000, but then a Pyke gets a triple kill in a team fight and it's back, right? And then that lower CS number ends up just kind of fitting in with the kit to still have enough gold.
A bit crazy. Nuggery, though, has more swords and a bigger one than Hani at this stage. They're just trying to outsword each other right here. That pesky shield in Hani's inventory, taking up space that he doesn't want utilized by that. Nuggery really wanted to get towards that turret so that he could take that last plate that was just hanging on by a thread. Don't know whether he actually made it there, but it does make it down into the river to try and get some vision control on Damwon's side, as Venus is lurking. They have transitioned towards Shelly, and she's been alive for 40 seconds, and she's going to be taken down. Is this clutch? I thought they were playing in the next series.
Well, we're about to find out with what happens at the Rift Child fight, because Damwon is coming in for this. And that's a lot of people in the river for a Qiyana.
Yeah, and Beryl's turned up here as well, so it is going to be a 4 versus 5 for the moment. But the killer instinct is going to be there for Nuclear, so Shelly hasn't reset just yet, and it looks like Damwon, they want to be able to steal this one away. DNK's got some great smites before as he goes golden immediately. Not entirely sure who picked up the Rift Herald, but now the fight is on. Showmaker dives forward. DNK dies so incredibly fast as the culling is soaked by the cow. Beryl still has the unbreakable will as Hani trying to get that pincer maneuver up to the top side. Damwon intelligently trying to get the stragglers as they move themselves forward. Headbutt pole lands, but that is a great aftershock proc there by Venus. Stun comes in, Artifact is being closed on, flash forward. The Twisted Fate goes down, and the rest of Damwon were dealing with the Thresh. Really good control here from the Damwon squad around that Rift Herald.
And they also were able to pick up the Rift Herald, which is just immediately used by Nagari early.
Nagari was the one that picked it up, so of course
Yeah.
he's put it in his lane to try and get all of those plates that he was trying to lock down against this Pyke. Oh, Nucleus. What a cheeky devil. Look at that. Goes and steals his plates away.
Also, did you know, Ender told me this the other day,
Oh, yeah.
Rift Herald resets the cooldowns of your trinkets.
Really?
Yeah, so Nagari technically could have spammed his wards, grabbed that Rift Herald, used it right away, and got his wards back.
I wonder if he did that, because he had roamed down to the river. You can see there are a couple of Damwon wards there. We could just say, just
He did it.
proving you
Big
right's
brain.
sake, that they were there. So let's have a look now how this fight went.
Yeah, Canyon gets the smite, but Nagari picks up the Rift Herald, and really, Showmaker just catches the whole of Lowkey and stops them from being able to follow up on this fight, and the whole time Pyke on the flank is just hoping to get someone in execute range, which is one of the reasons I think Nuclear had that early heal.
Yeah.
He said, all right, Beryl, I don't want Pyke resetting on us. That kind of infused him with the confidence to go in with his Aftershock and ult. No damage can really be returned, and everyone on Lowkey ends up just getting too split up.
Yeah, we have to talk about this Damwon comp and how it works together as well, just for a little bit, because there's some really exciting interactions with how this one works. Yes, they've got a whole lot of divers, right? They're able to get things done, but the really cool thing about this comp is that Canyon can set up supreme display of talent wall options for Showmaker. And you can create some crazy Thunderdomes with the shapes that you can build, and you can have a heck of a lot of damage if you block people off, especially in Baron Pits, throughout the jungle, things like that, because that interaction does work.
Yeah. Sometimes it can just seem to blow up the whole screen, especially if you
Yes.
threw a Jarvan in the game as well, because if the walls connect, everything flies around with the Kiana ultimate.
It's real silly. Actually, the first time I saw it, I was very confused. It was like a disco. Lots of lights, lots of explosions. It was a Michael Bay film. But it was certainly exciting to watch, and we'll see whether Damwon can show us some of these team fights as the Mountain Drake is going to go over. I love it, being able to pick up the Earth Dragon when they've got two sort of Earth-wielding champions as well, the Talia
Thematic.
and the Kiana. Thematically correct, beautiful. Theoretically, Kiana does control a lot of different elements, but I think the Earth element is the coolest one.
Because of the damage.
Yeah. Do more damage makes you cooler. That's how it works.
If I had to rank them, I don't know, I think the grass has the most fun for the Kiana player.
Yeah, I'd say so. Going a bit stealthy. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Water's the most powerful.
Yeah. What is the actual good one?
Yeah.
And then the Earth one's the bait because it does more damage.
Only when they're low.
Yeah. I actually think what makes a good Kiana player is the ability to reset all of the elements over and over again throughout a fight. So you've actually used all of them the one time with how the cooldowns sort of reset. I think it's really beautiful watching a really skilled Kiana player work. I have to keep our eyes on Showmaker as this game goes on, see whether it's him or Canyon that are the better Kianas. Canyon spent a fair bit of time in the Death Chamber in game number 1, so Showmaker does feel like more of a Showmaker champion. Here does the Kiana.
And just looking at their CS in the group stage, it was very much a solo lane focus, and Nuclear had a really hard time, especially in day 1 of the group stage, and ended up bouncing back a little bit more. So day 4 was his second day. Keep in mind, the average we just saw was from the whole group stage, and this was just his 2 games on day 4, which tells you how rough it was in the first 2 games for him. But looked a little bit better, definitely, as the second day of playing stage happened for them.
Yeah, Nuclear really did sort of repair his play. And it's cool because the way Damwon qualified here is in a 5-game series against a Kingzone that had been in a huge rut over the last little while. They qualified because they had enough championship points after finishing 3rd in the spring season, but their summer season was basically non-existent. They weren't really able to get anything done in a hyper-competitive top side of the LCK, and they were up against this Kingzone squad that have probably one of the most dominant 2v2s in lane that we have in the league. And I think that's why it was a 5-game series. I think because they were able to lock down Nuclear and Beryl and challenge that weakness without having to give any resources to it. Deft and Tucson just kill people in 2v2s all the time. I think that is going to be a real way to tackle this Damwon squad. And I think it's a large reason why things worked out for Lowkey early, because it wasn't like you were moving extra people around or doing anything like that. It was a lane swap. It was creating chaos.
And Nuclear was not going to punish them with Garen. That's for sure.
That is definitely
He might have on something else.
He did show us some of those sick Garen mechanics, though. There are a few of those moments in those team fights. Do like that as Damwon. 2 minutes until this next dragon is up. Looks like they're just trying to aim for some extra control around this area, although Canyon standing on that ward isn't helping himself out there. With these outer turrets taken down, feels like Damwon have given up on the laning phase and are looking for the 1-3-1 that they do so often in the LCK.
Yeah, and now it would be on Lowkey to actually get a tee-off ultimate in for an initiation this time. But the CS of Hani is pretty good. Being able to get kind of the early assist gold on Nagri's Renekton, which stopped him from being too aggressive, let him get to Tiamat quickly enough that he's been CSing quite well at his own turret, but he still needs, he would need that one team fight to really get going, and the number of kills in this game just have to go way up for this solo lane Pyke to be effective, because that's the way he generates so much of his gold. So much of the power of the champion is actually just the gold he generates through his ultimate.
I feel like next Serrated Dirk is when they just have to fight. When Lowkey are just at a point where they will only get weaker after that point. I think that is a big power spike here for Hani to try and fight around. But if Damwon can get a team fight that they're looking for, because remember, this is now a team fight composition from Damwon as well. They can dive bomb with their Kai'Sa. They can get a whole lot of chain CC down from the Alistair that's in Beryl's hands. You have to remember the nameplates are very important here because Beryl is so incredibly good at finding the right moments for his Pulverize. And then the Supreme Display of Talent plus the Weaver's Wall are a combo that really do need to be respected as we're having some drawing. Finally, it's back.
Yeah, it was bugged in game one. We didn't get it. But now look at all the wards and the vision control that they have in the river with Dragon coming up in exactly 20 seconds. So
I forgot
in case you wouldn't know. Also, if you ever want, I can just give you visual support for your points.
Okay.
And tell us straight for you.
All right, next team fight. While I'm play-by-playing, could you please highlight where the things are happening so that the audience can see? That would be really, really cool. It will probably be also very distracting, so hopefully I can keep it together.
I have a plan.
All right, I'm ready. The Infernal Drake is
going to be a while for the next team fight if Damwon has their way.
Yeah. 4,000 gold is the lead just somehow for Damwon. They won a couple of fights.
Yeah.
And that's what allowed them to get there.
And they had so much vision control, it would have been unwise of Lowkey to actually go in there and check.
I've got an important question, Chat.
Oh, great.
I was wondering, who's copying who out of Showmaker and Hani when it comes to item builds?
I'm excited about this because I had a question for you that also related to longswords.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Answer my question first, though. Who do you think is copying who?
I think Showmaker is copying Hani.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I feel like this is the Pyke build, and Pyke's been around longer.
Yeah, and I think the Tiamat is optional.
True.
On Kiana.
Whereas it's mandatory on Pyke because he doesn't have any other way of killing minions.
No other way. My question would be, remember when sometimes casters ask each other for help with analogies?
Yeah.
You were talking about Renekton and Pyke racing towards longswords. And I was going to be like, you don't get in a sword fight with the crocodile or something. Like, there's something there.
There's a crocodile sword fight.
Yeah, but I also couldn't figure out what Pyke was.
Dude, it's a pirate versus a crocodile. It's Captain Hook versus the crocodile with the clock. You just need a stopwatch and you've triggered him completely out of existence. As here we go, Supreme Display of Talent finds 0. But Damwon aren't going to get caught out of position or anything like that. Thanks, chat. That was a really good slow effort. I feel like for that one, you could just draw. We'll work on it. We'll work on it. It's okay. There'll be more fights this game.
Yep. So what is the saying then? You don't start a knife fight with the...
Spoon? I don't know. I think that's a knifey spoony.
Something wrong.
That's a Simpsons reference.
Someone will figure it out.
Yeah, someone will tweet it to you. Someone smarter than I am because I don't actually know what you're talking about at all. I just got really excited about Peter Pan because Captain Hook versus the crocodile is fun to me.
Yeah. Okay.
That's all I got, really. But DNK doing his very best to try and hold on to some sort of control, and there is a very pesky control ward in this red side jungle, giving Lowkey all sorts of added information. Come on, Damwon, get it.
I mean, this is the type of game. This is the type of game we expected in Game 1.
Yeah.
And it feels like Damwon has kind of refound, you know, their seriousness in this series.
Rediscovered even.
Yeah, and like that Twisted Fate ultimate was used just because they wanted to check Baron, right?
Yeah.
Not because they were looking for a fight, but at some point they do need to go in, right? They're getting starved out of trinkets.
Were you actually thinking of don't bring a knife to a gunfight?
Yeah, but it needed to be swords.
Yeah, I know.
It needed to be a crocodile fight.
Yeah.
There was a lot of things that were missing.
Don't bring
I didn't say
crocodile to a gun sword fight?
Yeah, don't bring a crocodile to a sword fight.
Don't bring a crocodile to a barbecue?
Yeah.
I think that's an obvious one.
But nothing's barbecuing. It's not like they're building Sunfire capes.
Yeah, that's true. There's no rumbles here.
No.
I think it needs some work, right? But
yes.
We'll definitely...
We'll workshop it later.
I'm sorry, that's all I was thinking about while you were making up.
One of my favorite things is taking idioms people are used to and then switching the last word.
Uh-huh.
Right? So that's why, like, kind of an idiom, don't bring a blah, blah, blah to a blah fight. Like, you
actually,
I
think that's really cool because, like, if you change the last letter of idiom, you get idiot. there's a reference there. Can we figure out a way to make that one work too, Jen? I don't know.
So rude.
Well, do you know what's rude? We're in the lull state, and we haven't talked about the lull state yet because this game has slowed well and truly all the way down as we're having a look at the bounties that people have on their heads. It's actually the circles were getting in the way there just a little bit.
They were.
As Nuclear is making his way towards item number 3. We need to talk about when this Damwon comp is going to get strong, and I think 3 items for Nuclear is going to be a big one. As Beryl, he's going to try and get them off the lantern, and a Seismic Shove will do just that. Nuclear's going to grab it, and they're going to blast cone their way over to this Baron. The Weaver's Wall's fantastic, as well as Venus. He can't get over unless he flashes, and he doesn't have it available. Teleport's coming in, but can they actually get there? The Seismic Shove to get them out of the way. The culling was in there, but the smite was true this time. Showmaker doesn't get the Supreme Display of Talent, but it's a really good cleanse. As into the backline goes Nuclear. He gets stunned, but he's able to take down Celebrity before anything happens. Damwon lose no one. They gain themselves a Baron and 2 kills. And Hani, he might be going down yet again. Oh no. This 1-2 punch of the cow plus the Talia is working so well for Damwon this game.
And they actually had so much control over that entire situation. The starving of vision they had done to Lowkey over the past 4 or 5 minutes, forcing them into a move, and now they're at least going to be trying to take this inhibitor.
And Canyon's eye is well and truly in on these flicks as well. The Seismic Shove looked fantastic, like he was swatting a fly away. But instead, it was a Thresh, and it denied him from getting towards that pit. You could tell that he really wanted to get over there and provide vision for his squad so that maybe there was a potential steal. Just wasn't going to happen. Nogari sees 50 gold on the map right there, and he's going to take down that ward. The first flick, fantastic. Venus will come over in the end. Another one. The Weaver's Wall's brilliant. This was all about Canyon.
Also keeping Thresh out from hooking the pit so he couldn't bring a teammate in. The only possible scary part would have been the culling, but as long as you have that in there, Hani not able to get the ult onto Showmaker to stop any potential things from going wrong. But even if he lands that, everyone else on Damwon was completely full health.
And now another Mountain Drake is going to make breaking this base even easier. It was already done. The inhibitor in the mid lane was there, and 8,000 gold is now the lead at 25 minutes into this game. Feels like Damwon, they've repaired their mental after a long pause at the beginning of this game and a disastrous game 1, as we're having a look at the 3 items completed. Thank you very much, Jat, for highlighting that one. Nuclear is now strong, and I think they've already won the key team fight that they were looking for. Things just went from bad to worse. As that's the way I know that one, Jet. I know that one. As Weaver's Wall's going to come in, so Canyon looking for more Supreme Display of Talent. It's going so far around these walls, but unfortunately, the Weaver's Wall saves them from the damage. Massive pulverize in the backline shows us that it just doesn't matter what the Kiana's ultimate's doing if they can get into this fight. They just have too much damage. As now DNK is looking to turn it onto Showmaker. His combo doesn't do quite enough damage, as now you got Showmaker trying to deny him from stopping these backs, but it doesn't matter. There are super creeps in the base. The Nexus will be taken down. A 26-minute revenge victory for Damwon. And something I wasn't expecting to say was that this has evened out the series between Damwon and Lowkey.
You're absolutely right, but I think Damwon did a very good job of recovering from the insanity of Game 1. They did pick a Renekton. Lowkey didn't decide to go for lane swaps, and even though a few things actually did go wrong for them in the early game, they stayed controlled, they didn't overforce, and they just kind of let the game come to them. They actually played their game rather than just thinking they would be able to walk over Lowkey Esports, which Lowkey proved.
There's not a lot of flexibility with this Lowkey squad, and now that they've locked in the jungler, the Skarner is going to be what they decide to take towards the Gragas. This composition isn't looking as quintessential Lowkey as you'd expect from this this series.
Not looking very fast.
No.
Oh.
All right. Jace locked in. And Talia. Is this going to be the adaptation on the Avenger duo that we saw?
Well, the Yasuo might... My brain is just breaking.
Okay, so what's happening is we got Yasuo,
it's probably
is the bottom lane.
That's what I think, And then I'm like, then they're going to put Jace in a solo lane and Talia in the jungle.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying. How did... Okay, good job. You got there faster than me.
I mean, I've seen it before, right? I mean, I commentate this team's league, so theoretically I should have a little bit of an advantage.
Because technically the Jace can go in 3 places. The Renekton could go in 2.
Talia can go in 2.
But I also have a theory that like almost any solo lane champion can also work bot lane.
Yeah. So actually, we may not necessarily know. Let's wait 15 seconds
this is it. You're
before
right.
we guarantee. But this is
guarantee
what we're guaranteeing it right now?
Guaranteeing
wow, you went from not having any clue what's going on to, no, this is definitely it. There is no chance anything's changing. But this is how it should work, right? Because Chovy is our mid lane Jace player in the LCK. Noguri is our top lane Jace player. That is just how it works. Khan, sorry, you lost that title. Noguri is too damn good on this champion. So this is all about dominating the laning phase and having this bottom lane that can be so explosive in the mid game. You keep the best friends duo together and you get these things to work out for you. So I'm excited to see what Nuclear and Beryl can do, because this is all about commitment on the bottom side. In order to get any control in this lane, you really need to be playing with fire. Yeah,
because it's a lane that can go very wrong, and if we do see celebrities Kai'Sa pick up any early kills, you never really know what's going to happen. But in terms of game pacing or who's going to be better in mid-game team fights, I love what Damwon has done here in saying, no, we're just going to pick all the best mid-game team fighting champions and just not let you have any of them. You can play late game. I think it's a much sounder strategy for Damwon to get a high percentage victory.
The thing I absolutely love is that almost every champion on this Damwon squad has a 2-item power spike. So you know exactly when they're going to be fighting, and you know exactly when we're getting into game number 3. Welcome to the Rift, guys. Damwon Gaming versus Lowkey Esports, game 3. We were talking about how important this particular game is, because this brings you to match point. This alleviates so much more of those nerves moving into that game number 4 that can be so pivotal. And I love that Damwon have come out swinging in this draft with a lot of comfortable picks for a lot of their players.
Yeah, I completely agree. And then it's also having a little more action even right away in this game, right? Taking the initiative to go and invade, get more deep wards, really try and shut down DNK. In game 2, they were very close to shutting down DNK in the jungle. If you remember, Showmaker stole Raptors as mid lane Kiana, and then Canyon tried the early game Talia invade. They might try something similar this game, but we're seeing a slight adaptation from Lowkey, who's also getting some deep vision of their own.
Yep, we've got wards traded on red buffs on either side of the map. Lowkey now moving over to get that leash happening for the Skarner, who decided to move elsewhere as Jat, the artist, is doing some sketching, but hasn't quite decided what he wants to be drawing.
I was trying to get to our feature that you haven't seen yet.
All right.
Which is numbering the jungle camps. So you can see, I'm taking too long on this thing. So like first camp here, right? Where does Canyon
beautiful one
decide to go next? He's likely just going to immediately gank top lane and then go something like second camp, third camp, and try and race to this unless he sees something happening. But this is exactly what Damwon wants to do.
Has to flash. And that's what happens if you land that auto, get that red buff slow. Hani, no option other than flash.
So this actually happened, this exact early game gank path happened in the group stage against Robo, and it was like 40 CS to 2. The difference there, though, is that Robo had touched the wave, and Nuguri was able to freeze it on him. This is a flash, so it will be a large advantage, but it's not setting up a freeze in the top lane, so it won't be quite as disastrous, and we'll see if DNK ends up just showing on the red buff, since it looks like Canyon decided not to race down bot.
Yeah, that is going to be a ward for Lowkey, though, and they move over towards there. So vertical jungle is going to ensue, as Venus didn't want to take that turret shot, but thankfully Aftershock is a rune, so we'll keep him alive for the moment. So a red buff is going to be claimed here, but it was a Raptor clear as well, coming in from Canyon, so able to steal away a little bit more than what DNK will be able to, assuming he's not going to immediately head towards that Raptor camp, and I think the Raptor camp would kill him if he went there. Thankfully, the smite going to get him a whole bunch of his health back.
Yeah, so Damwon actually didn't see any of this because their wards expired right before DNK ended up walking into the area. Canyon's going to have to make an educated guess here. When he does end up showing on a ward, if he shows and has red, he'll know exactly what it is, when I think he's very close to showing down in that bot river, but either way, not too much gained or lost from these early jungle choices.
Yeah, not too much of a worry. They do watch the Scryers bloom fly along, and Beryl, his spidey senses were tingling, or his scorpion senses, I guess, as DNK has now been confirmed to have stolen the red buff, and now moving over to the Raptors as well. Canyon, if at first you don't succeed, back towards the top side and utilize the lack of flash on Hani. Could this be the first blood for Damwon this series, is the question. DNK looking to try and stop that from being an eventuality. As Beryl on the wrong side, yeah, has snuck in here, gets a decent stun as there's the flash Zenith Blade. Beryl does have the Aftershock, but it's not enough. First blood once again to Celebrity. And I just jinxed it, but that is 3 first bloods in a row for Lowkey Esports.
And coming on to Skarner as well, just so much commitment from Damwon to gank top lane and sit around top lane. They kind of let DNK wander everywhere he wanted to. Think about how that was actually a relatively risky play from Skarner when he invaded red buff, got down to 20% health at level 2, went back to river, re-invaded the Raptor camp before looping for that gank. I can see why it was unexpected for Beryl, but it does get rewarded in the first blood.
Comes on down, and I think this was just brilliant timing from DNK on multiple plays in a row, which is so cool, like you were saying. So the body slam being blocked by the Skarner just spelt the end of Beryl. And winning in the 2v2, it's a pretty common thing as DNK now finds Canyon, and the entire threaded volley is soaked by the Skarner, but he has to use the flash to get himself out of the way as Artifact now down to 300 underneath his own turret, and Showmaker asserting dominance. Remember, there is no Twilight Shroud. Showmaker has the flash. He could... Oh man, it's real scary here for Artifact. He has his flash available as well, so in theory should be alright. And Grasp of the Undying is Artifact's decision on the runes. Often fleet footwork is something that you could go for if you're feeling a little bit of pressure, but wanting to have that max health as well. Yeah, Noguri's Jace is pretty good, guys.
Yeah, he has... The thing to point out there is the forward percentage. He's just constantly near the other team's turret, pressuring, trying to get a larger and larger advantage, and that's why you see the most impressive thing here is the damage per minute difference. That's how much more DPM he does than his opponent. A lot of champions or roles average like 400 damage per minute, let alone have that over the other top laner. And I also want to point out, 6 minutes and 10 seconds is the first time Canyon has went on the bottom half of the map. He spent the first 6 minutes on the top side of the map. That's how much he was playing around the top side.
He even has Agatha to take as well. If you have a look at Gromp on the blue side, DNK hanging around this Cloud Drake. Of course, Cloud Drake feeling a lot better here for Lowkey because they have a Skarner. Extra movement speed, always good. Leona as well does like that. DNK only level 5. Still patrolling, trying to keep Artifact safe. And Artifact is the carry of this team most of the time, right? He is the guy that does most of the damage, and he's now on the Akali, a champion that he is known for Canyon's going to move on in immediately, but DNK, he's ready. Still, remember, not level 6 just yet. But Venus snaps him right out of the air. The Eclipse is in, and now they're going to turn their attention over to Celebrity. Celebrity will be falling down, but now Venus behind enemy lines looking for his way out. Is this Owen Wilson or is this Leona? As Beryl's chasing after him, he's going for the execution.
Ooh.
And I think he should be able to do it, just waiting for as long as he possibly can. It is going to be the execution. Wastes as much time as possible before pulling the trigger as well.
Yeah, quite well done, letting that timer wear out. The greedier move would have been to continue to run into the jungle and try and get a recall off, but that rarely works, and it's early enough in the death timers that he'll be able to run back to lane in basically the same time, so...
I wonder if that Owen Wilson call actually got picked up.
Which Owen Wilson? I thought you were going to, I think Snake.
Owen Wilson,
like Solid Snake would have been...
The actor who acted in Behind Enemy Lines, the movie.
I do remember watching trailers for that movie.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't watch the movie. It was terrible.
I didn't watch the movie.
So making a reference to just a known bad movie is, that's a roughie.
There's a lot of movies made that you just completely forget about the existence of until you see them on, like, your Netflix scroll wheel.
Yeah.
Like, wow, there's such good actors in this. How did I never hear about it?
And then you remember. And the worst one is when you, you open it up thinking that you've never seen it before, and the intro is like that terrible intro that you remember not wanting to watch. As we have a look at this replay once again.
Yeah, I mean, really, Venus landing that Zenith Blade is what ends up securing them the kill. But because Showmaker had channeled the teleport, which had already been burned by the Akali, it kind of gives them at least a 1-for-1. And then let's see if Beryl was in experience range. So even though he doesn't get gold, he does get the experience for it. So that's decent in keeping him alive in this game, because they don't want to necessarily fight until they can at least match 6s down bottom.
The thing that I really like as well is that Beryl was the one that went after him. So you're not actually wasting any time farming, because the entire bottom lane was dead. So the Yasuo Nuclear was able to get around that bottom lane, clean up all those minions, get the minion waves into exactly where they needed to, and Showmaker didn't waste any time. He moved straight towards the mid lane again. So just good, clean play as far as making sure that no resources went to waste. But it is still low-key with an advantage as far as kills. It's not in terms of gold. We've gotten used to seeing this so far. You just need to be that little bit more ahead than you otherwise think you need to be.
Yeah, and as we approach the 10 minutes, the first 10 minutes are not exactly Damwon's specialty, even in the group stage, but it is really between the 20 and 25-minute mark you can see where they've been exploding their gold leads, and part of that is just them being good, but a lot of it is they just hit the specific items that they want to, and then they go very aggressive. But in terms of the early game, it hasn't been that great for them.
Yeah, but going, doubling your lead between those last 10 minutes as well just shows that this team plays around the time Baron spawns. That's when they go for their fights, and then they can move towards the Baron, and then they win the game, right? That's how they sort of expand their leads. And once again, this is a composition that has all of those things, right? Nogari going towards the lethality version of the Jace. We've seen a few different varieties. Is this the first time we've seen Jace?
Stats would have told me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it is.
That's true. I don't think so. Not so far in this tournament. Just having a little bit of a brain fade. First time we've seen Nogari's Jace, though. It's not the first time I've seen Nogari destroy a turret at around 10 minutes.
10:35. 5 plates to Jace, 30 CS advantage, and now the Rift to bring mid. So before 14 minutes, Damwon can have both of the solo lanes opened up, which will then kind of allow them to go around and hunt with this Gragas Yasuo pretty much wherever they want to go. So even though the first 10 minutes weren't that great, it does seem like they're kind of getting what they want out of this game.
Really interesting thing about the Yasuo synergy for this comp as well is that you've got Seismic Shove, AoE Knockup, and you've also got the Hammerback for the Jace as well. So you've got 4 members that are capable of setting up the Yasuo if you include Yasuo himself.
Yeah, and you were right about the Jace pick. It had been banned before so far in the playing stage. Okay, so
cool. I believe Armutz was the player that got the Jace banned against him.
Yeah. We're going to get to see him play up next.
Maybe the Jace
Clutch.
even.
Yeah.
Stay tuned after this series for Clutch versus Royal Youth. As here's Lowkey coming down for a gank. 3 versus 2 as Nuclear already down extraordinarily low. The last breath not going to be utilized because Nuclear knew he was dead. The teleport now coming in. Not sure what Nogari wanted to do. He wanted to use both of his summoner spells and he got his wish as Rift Herald is going to be thrown down in the mid lane. It was all the distraction play, exactly what Nuclear has been used to.
I think he was hoping Nuclear would ult off the Gragas ulti and then Nuggery would come in to turn that play around. But that didn't happen, so he had to flash immediately. Rift Herald distracts, and now we could see a bit of a skirmish around the Cloud Drake.
Yeah, of course, this is the latest Drake's taken to go down as well this series because we've seen so many Infernals and pretty nice dragons. Not going to be happening this time. The Cloud is going to be the debut dragon as Beryl finds himself a control ward and is going to look to clear that one out. So much vision control around this area for Damwon, but they still don't want the dragon. Powered Shock Blast, DNK might overextend here, but they're not going to go for it. Beryl and Canyon over to the side. Showmaker in here as well. Vision available. Celebrity finds a Void Seeker, but otherwise not too much to be found. Blue buff is what they're fighting over.
Pressing the issue. Let's see if Lowkey fights back.
DNK. He was looking for the ult, but didn't even get there. Harney's on the top side. He ain't doing anything. He's got no teleport as Nuclear is looking to turn up. Can we find the knockups? As Showmaker is gigantic. Canyon jumps over with the wall, and there's the flash forward. Beryl gets the body slam, and Nuclear just smacks him back down with the last breath.
You could see how much Damwon was just trying to force Lowkey into action right there, and eventually they do. Showmaker kind of randomly ends up picking up the blue buff because of his ultimate Dominus ticks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and now they just continue to push forward.
That was, I think that was planned, I would assume, as the last plate. One of the last plates going to be taken down here as the burst damage is easily enough. Beryl gets a well-deserved kill. Gragas doing a lot of the work there. As Artifact 1v1'd Nogari on the bottom side of the map, guys. That happened.
We're gonna have to.
In the meantime, that's the thing that happened.
Yeah, that, and looks like he did it without his ultimate too. So that will require a second look.
Yeah. I mean, I know there was a lot going on, but I'd really like to have a look at how that happened.
Kali does damage. Maybe.
She does. She does. I actually just want to see how it all went down. Remember, he used both of his summoner spells. He's on.
So he's already relatively low.
Mana.
Cutlass probably just lands an E, and then he's dead.
Yeah.
Okay. Doesn't even need that.
I don't even think he lost a health.
Very easy.
1 health. And HP.
For Kali in the side lanes.
Yeah.
Doesn't stop him from having the most gold in the game.
I think he also went back and got a full Dustblade of Drakthar, so maybe greeting for a turret plate and understanding that he was probably going to be taken down. So now, with all that lethality that we were talking about, this is, of course, the 2-item build that you want for a mid-game Jace power spike. It does go along with what Damwon have available to them. So we are at the time where they do want to be pushing the envelope, getting things forward, locking down these turrets, getting the team fights that they want. But it's Lowkey that's able to do so as Nogari, should be dead underneath this turret. The Impale is in, all too easy, but now Showmaker turns up. Nard back underneath this turret, but now the rest of Damwon gets in here. The last breath, Venus looking to go down second as the Gnar was already dead. Artifact as well, unable to lock down Canyon is now DNK. He's the one in the enemy jungle. And Beryl is looking for him. Doesn't have the ultimate. In fact, no one has ultimates, but they don't need them. As Nuclear picks up that one very comfortably with just a spin of the Q.
Yeah, even though I like the idea of Lowkey to punish Nogari over and over again, since that is really his weakness as a player. So many isolated deaths, always trying to maximize his gold. They're committing very hard for it, and in this game, Damwon Gaming is really chasing after those commits to clean up. So even though no early game resources were really used onto Nuclear, he's now sitting at a 3-kill Yasuo. You watch this fight once again, they dive through the turret, they use Skarner ulti, they lose Leona ulti, and then just to disengage, they're using Gnar ulti, which makes the re-engage by Damwon pretty free. Gragas into Yasuo, easy does it, and then since DNK had already dove behind the turret, it's easy to chase him down. Nice shot by Canyon here with Atilia.
Oh yeah, over the wall. It didn't actually miss that as it was all going on, and his flash to get out of the way of the Akali as well. I believe Artifact didn't have a charge left of the ultimate to get into the fight, so just disjointed from Lowkey, but an immediate answer from Damwon Gaming. You'd think 3 versus 1 is probably enough. to take someone down in a side lane. But
It is.
not only were they unable to win the ensuing fight, but they gave Nogari the 0-2 power spike.
That is his specialty.
That is his specialty, Jat. I'm glad that you've learned.
0-2, and also 700 more gold than the rest of his team. Because of turret plates.
Just Nogari things, guys.
We mentioned that Damwon has 2 item power spikes. A lot of these champs are just 1.
That's
like
true.
Ghostblade on Jace, Sojin on Renekton, your Shiv on Yasuo. That's really what you need to just turn on and become powerful. Same with Runic Echoes on Canyon. So I think that's why we've seen them try and be so active. And I do like what Lowkey's doing here. They're just trying to chase for kills to break the inevitability of all this side lane pressure that Damwon's comp can put out. But if any of those initiations go at all wrong, like we saw the 3-man get countered, and then this other 3-man just now completely miss on Showmaker, they lose so much around the rest of the map.
And Damwon wishes that they could be trying to get topside vision and playing around a Baron pit, but unfortunately, we're still 2.5 minutes away from the Baron even being a thing on the map. Shelly was taken very, very quickly in this game, and it's a 6,000 gold lead. It feels like Damwon have been warming up so far this series. And Lowkey just want game 1 back. They want their lane swap back, and I want to go back to the draft, Jad, because I feel like this was a misfire on the draft for Lowkey, because I think what made them special in game 1 was that they were mixing it up. They were creating strange things. And this draft is uninteresting in a lot of ways when it comes to changing the meta and adapting to what makes Lowkey Lowkey.
Yeah, I completely agree on that one. It's also kind of, you got to check, like, what are our expectations really as Venus gets...
I think he might be dead, guys. Well, Hani is in position, has Mega Gnar available.
They might try and fight.
Yeah, we look for it as Beryl does have his stopwatch available anyway, as double kill comes in for the Renekton. Artifact off to the backside, but he is just dealt with, stabbed with a Q. And I was looking for QSS in my brain. I couldn't find it, and Lowkey couldn't find the team fight.
Because every time we have these David and Goliath type matchups.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. We always ask the David in the story to try a bunch of new weird strategies. But there's only so much you can innovate and bring to a series, right? Like lane swapping was their one. They're kind of just assuming that Damwon has an answer to it, or they only like doing that with Tristana Ornn. Right? And it's been taken away completely from them in the draft phase. And then secondarily, you're saying, all right, maybe solo lane Pyke. Well, it didn't work, right? How many of these things can you keep pulling out of your pockets? Or does Damwon just kind of take the early game team against you and crush, which is what we're seeing here. Lowkey's trying to fight back. But
it almost worked, actually. The Gnar into the backline from Hani was actually great, but unfortunately, the Crocodile was just way too big.
Yeah. Showmaker's Renekton is pretty scary.
Yeah, can't find him at the moment. As we have a look at the damage to champions, Nogari, done the most inting for Damwon this game, has done the most damage, and has earned the most gold. He's a man that likes all the attention, and so far he's deserving it. His Jace is living up to expectation. Baron finally spawns as DNK goes down to below half, taking a threaded volley from Canyon.
Yeah, it's the... I don't want to say he has a good 0-2-6 Jace game, because normally you say no, if it gets late game, it's bad, you don't want to give gold, but he's having a pretty good 0-2-6 Jace game. He's got the most gold in the game.
You got to get used to it. But you got to get used to the 0-2 power spike, Jack.
Canyon spent the first 6 minutes ganking for him.
Yeah.
And then still abandoned the bot side. I want to say Nuclear and Beryl have done work this game, because look.
Well, they're going to find them yet again.
There it is again.
All too easy. The best friends club on the bottom side of the map. DNK not going to get locked down, but at least they do bully them out of their own jungle, and the Baron could be the opportunity here for Damwon.
Yeah, and because they have so many melees, they actually do fight as their way of breaking this open, and really just, I think they're just going to keep running these plays for picks over and over again. Having the Mountain Drake does make it more possible for them to take Drake, but don't see them in any rush. To just get back to Nuclear and Beryl, this is what you really love as a jungler if your bot lane can do this. You spend the whole game topside.
Yep.
And then they don't complain.
No.
They join in for your team fights, and then they end up just getting their gold anyway after the kills. And
they engage your fights for you and provide perfect setups for your seismic shove, so you look really good.
These are the freelo games. When you're able to just hard camp your Jace, the other jungler just lives bot side and doesn't get anything done.
Yep, that's the honor your bottom lane, guys. Even though the jungler is the one that looks like he's really cool in the early stages, don't worry. It's all about the bottom lane not losing.
Yeah. Really, if you think about the strategy, Canyon and Nagari, like the strategy itself didn't work.
No,
yes, they did kill the turret early, which is part of the strategy working, but they were unable to generate any kills for themselves. Really, the mid and bot lane was just played 3v4 for most of the game. They're carrying.
And now there's an Infinity Edge on Nuclear, so that's the 2-item spike that everyone knows about.
There it is.
On the old Yasuo, 100% crit, absolutely there. And there's the 2 items that Showmaker wanted. He's a very big boy, Spear of Sojin as well as his Black Cleaver. A heck of a lot of cooldown reduction, if you don't mind, an infinite cooldown reduction when he presses R. This is a scary amount of damage. I think Canyon needs to go back home and maybe buy his next item, but his stopwatch is still unused, so he basically has a Zhonya's. Now Damwon looking to try and dive in a turret. Nogru clearing out some wards there as there's the flick back, half the health bar, missing on the Skarner.
Spooky.
This is just a siege. It's aggressive because remember, this composition doesn't siege very well at all.
Yep.
They do have the damage, and if they're intimidating enough, they can get that low range to work as there's the barrel, the boot back, the ultimate combo, and Canyon picks up the kill with a threaded volley. It's what happens. I mean, David versus Goliath. Now it's the Goliath that's throwing the rocks. It's
so unfair.
The tables have turned, Jad. It's like game 1 happened, but then
look how many rocks he has.
Stole his weapon.
He's got a ton of rocks.
Yeah, in a row. And this Baron may just be dead. 23 minutes into the game.
Might get a fight. Oh, that's good. That's a good reveal.
We're down to 2,000. We could have another steal as Nogari, not even in the pit, but Canyon is going to be able to get that one locked down. Oh, the boot back.
There it is.
The 4-man Nara into the wall. Could this be? Lowkey's team fight already to have gone down as Nogari gonna have to do it by himself as Canyon now over to the side, having to fight Artifact. And look at the aggro management. It's stunning from Lowkey, and they get the ace.
Oh man, Damwon just group up for the Gnar ultimate. I'll have to go back and see why was Nagari not there. Like he is playing so sloppily in this whole series. They picked DNK as the jungler. Maybe Nagari wanted to go back for some mana. Yeah, and then he just teleports in way far away from the rest of the team. I really put this almost entirely on Jace, because if this was a 5v5 and the team didn't have to all hide in the back of the pit for the Gnar and they could actually pull back out for a real fight, I don't think this happens. Celebrity doing a very good job ulting away from Nagari at the end of this fight.
Yeah.
To pick up the kill and keep it really just completely invalidating the Baron. The Baron power play is over.
Yeah, there is no Baron. Baron's gone. It's dead. It's over. 5,000 gold is the lead for Damwon. But you wouldn't expect it. After a fight like that, you saw Celebrity's damage just huge. The way he kited Nogari at the end there is the reason why they were able to win, because they were really low health bars, right? He insta-kills the Kai'Sa in one of the iterations of that fight. It's a theory that that could have been a quadra kill for the Jace. It wasn't the case, though. He was able to trade 1-for-1 at the very end in that isolated moment. And that means that Celebrity dies, but all of Damwon is the trade.
And
which, by the way, is not worth it.
Yeah, because it leaves the window open now for Celebrity to carry.
Yeah.
Right? We have, yes, we do have a bot lane Yasuo, but we don't have the same type of sustained damage threat that you get from the 3-item Kai'Sa. Still 6,000 gold lead, still, Damwon macro versus Lowkey macro, and Lowkey says they just go for kills for their general strategy, but getting rid of the Baron and winning that fight gives them a bit of a chance.
Well, Nogari has to flash to get out of the way of the Solar Flare. Couldn't proc his Edge of Night fast enough. Presses all of those buttons as quickly as he can, but Damwon looking like they're scattered a little bit. Not their true, well-oiled, coordinated selves. Is the Baron no longer a thing to fight for? The Mountain Drake was taken by Lowkey as well. Still have to wait 3.5 minutes for that objective to be on the board. And Damwon are looking for poke damage with the Jace, but he's the only member of the squad, apart from, I guess, a Gragas that can really help with that. And even then, it's not necessarily working because there is a fair bit of ability to soak here. Venus stands in front, presses W things feel all right.
Yeah, and if Skarner and Gnar are both built up towards potentially Rand wins, or even just armor health items like a Dead Man's Plate or something, they'll be much more resilient to Damwon. Because like we talked about, hey, what's their bot lane going to be? They do need to worry a little bit about damage spread later in the game. They do that. Technically, their 3 main carry roles are all physical damage, and if Canyon misses his skill shots in a fight, it's a front line that's going to be relatively difficult for Damwon to take down.
Well, you can see that goal graph. Certainly fallen back. See that little spike there? I believe that was just as the Baron went down. And then immediately, we had a bit of a change.
9.5k gold would be a massive throw.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not there yet, though. They still have control of pretty much the whole map.
Yeah, I wouldn't go applying for baseball teams or anything like that yet. Damwon. Not necessary. As all the vision around this Baron pit is certainly belong to them. We've got identical spawn timers down to the second on the Dragon and the Baron, which is cool.
I'm trying to like
look at them both at the same time,
to see
right?
if they actually are completely identical.
I think
they seem ridiculously close. Because these timers are automatic. It's not like someone pressed start on both of them. I'm pretty sure they're automatic in the spectator class.
Does the circles help you pay attention?
Yeah.
It's my first use of
Is
circles.
the one on the right a little behind?
I think the Baron's a little bit earlier.
Okay.
I think if you were going to objectively go to the one that spawns first, it's the Baron.
Yeah.
But, I can get rid of those circles now. I'm a little bit excited. There's my first circle.
Yeah, it's almost like the game where there's a square bouncing around on the screen. You're trying to wait for it to the corner. I've never seen timers this sync in my life.
I know. This is amazing.
And the kills are the same.
Oh my.
Both teams have a mountain
And the
drake.
scores are the same. And the turrets are completely different. The drakes are completely different. It's a disaster.
Yeah, 1-1, 11-11.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, for a second.
Oh, yeah. We had like 1-1-1-1. It's just binary, everything. I don't know, man. Maybe there's some trickery at work. Speaking of trickery at work, Jad, I want to bring it back to the game just a little bit and look at the warding here. Because you can see that line of control ward that Damwon have set up. This is the suffocation that Damwon are capable of in the mid to late game, where they just make sure that there's just a whole bunch of your jungle camps that you're not allowed to take.
Yeah, and I wonder, like, Lowkey would have to take a big risk here if they wanted to just rush Baron. Because if I'd expect Damwon to just have Baron vision and then have someone go kind of lazily take Mountain Drake. Mm-hmm. So you'd have to guess, right? As that happens, Lowkey is kind of guessing, but there's a high chance to get caught out here.
Oh, DNK once again down to half. It's another barrel to come back. The last breath, and into the death chamber goes the Scorpion. Yep.
Yeah. But no one was moved to the Mountain Drake. Damwon kept 5 people completely around the Baron pit.
That's true. So
Lowkey couldn't check.
They could trade the Mountain Drake for the Baron here as well, so all is not entirely lost.
I think they want to fight, though.
Yep, Weird as well is going to get rid of a few, but Venus will have the ability to throw over the Lantern if he wants to, but they've already lost the Baron. No chance. There's no smite available, and now 5 versus 4 is not a fight that Lowkey wanted to take. Good empowered shock blast there from Nogari. As I believe at least one person will head down, grab that Mountain Drake, and now continue the push here for Damwon. It feels like they've had one hiccup, but they've pulled things back.
Yep. Critically, Nogari didn't teleport back to base to finish his item while his team was doing Baron.
And then that resulted in Damwon not all dying after taking the Baron. This power play might be better than the first one.
I think it will be. DNK really far ahead of his team there. I think Lowkey would have wanted to be more grouped right there and definitely needed Gnar with them if they're going to be doing a face check like that, and is easily punished by Damwon.
Yep. So pretty elementary play there. They grabbed themselves that second Mountain Drake very easily. And now it's Nuclear building towards his Morok Mount Mortius. It's a 5-item. Yasuo incoming. It's getting very scary. GA is done for Showmaker. He is gigantic. And now Black Cleaver for Nogari, where Mercurial Scimitar completion away from this Jace being 6 items. And I could keep listing off the item spikes, but I think you guys understand that this is a Damwon that is well and truly ready to fight and ready to win this game, and they now have a Baron buff in order to do so. Lowkey need a desperation team fight, and they need it to be heroic.
Yep, and I think they should probably go for it pretty soon, especially since they were unable to keep the minion wave dead and will be losing this inhibitor soon. Or they can wait for another 4-1 opportunity. So eventually Showmaker or Nogri will be off in the side trying to do damage to a turret.
Yeah, Showmaker
right when he shows there,
wave, yeah.
you want to try. It's just everything's really hard because they also don't have any flank wars to teleport in behind.
Well, having like only 2 champions that are pseudo-ranged is a problem, which is why these inhibitors are difficult to take down even with a Baron.
Yep.
But it will eventually go, I say difficult to take down, but with a 9,000 gold lead, this should be a steamroll, right? But it wasn't the case.
Yeah, they have 3 cannons that ended up grouping up for that one. That's how long they held that minion wave there.
Nogari's still using it, like boosting up these cannon minions with the Baron buff. Finally, Celebrity gets there, but goes down to half health by just an empowered shock blast.
Oh, so pretty how the 3rd wave just arrives as the 2nd one crashes.
It's like a cooking show, isn't it? This is the one I prepared earlier, talking about minion waves this time. Damwon take down this inhibitor. Inhibitor turret first, we're playing it by the book, but in goes Celebrity. He's gonna start this fight against Nogari, but look at the burst damage, the flash over. The hammer shot was actually what was locking down Celebrity. Brilliant stuff there from Nogari as Showmaker dives onto Celebrity there. And you can see Damwon, no one going down just like, finally, it's Nuclear that falls, but the health bars of Lowkey were all invested for one pesky Yasuo. It's turned though in the end, so 2 for 2 thus far as the bottom lane from Damwon did fall.
Nogari wants to end.
Yeah, and
he says stop the recalls.
He's just going to be jumping on top of these Nexus turrets. The Nexus is going to be the next one, and yep, we've stopped the backs. And Damwon moved to match point in this series. Expected part of this series, you'd have to admit, from everyone, but it came a little bit later than we otherwise would have thought. And so Lowkey Esports, they are still in this one, but is there any cheese left in their pantry?
Well, the thing that's left is Ornn, because that's the ban that Damwon has had to drop, moving back to the red side since they wanted to ban Pantheon. If we do want to see another lane swap from Lowkey, which it's a tall order. I can understand why they wouldn't want to go back to it, since that's the type of thing that, you know, Coach Kim from Damwon could just kind of drill with them afterwards, after they lose game 1. But yeah, I think after what's happened in games 2 and 3, I think Lowkey should go back to it.
Well, the Lee Sin going to be locked in here by Damwon, and the expected lock-in afterwards would be something like the Xayah. Xayah has been banned throughout this entire series.
Yep.
We've seen this so many times. When you're on the red side, it's all about getting those color-coordinated picks alongside the Lee Sin. See whether the Rakan pick-away is going to be there from the Lowkey Esports, but otherwise, Damwon will be locking that one away last.
Yeah, I could see Rakan being an important takeaway, also having the lane against Rakan.
Ezreal Rakan.
It's actually not bad if they wanted to go for it.
Okay, we're going... No. We're going Yasuo Gragas. And I love this because Ezreal has been flexed into the mid lane quite a lot. If we've been having a look at Solo Cube, you've been watching Faker's stream. He's been playing so much mid lane Ezreal. So in theory, Artifact could be on that one. So still not entirely sure where everything is going. But we are sure that Showmaker has locked away Akali. They just don't care about the Rakan. They want to make sure that Showmaker has comfort.
Yeah, and it also means that we'll likely see Beryl on something like Alistar again.
Yeah.
Rather than the Rakan, assuming Lowkey actually decides to ban out that strong combo, and a bit of a support pinch, the Braum ban. Actually really interesting. Why I think they might do that is Ezreal Braum is an incredibly strong level 1 invade, which could potentially allow Lowkey to set up something creative. And I can kind of see just Damwon trying to cover any possible area of disadvantage.
See whether Thresh is the next thing that Damwon looks at. Another knockback displacement that Lowkey could utilize, but the Pike is where we're going to see that. Does also have similar situation there, as now Damwon do have the Alistar available. Nautilus was what Lowkey decided to go for. And Yuumi is what we've seen in the past, and the Xayah Yuumi works out really well. The cat goes inside the Xayah, and then Xayah goes untargetable, and that's 2 people that are untargetable.
I hope they do Nidalee.
In that Featherstorm is, okay, DNK gonna take the Nidalee, and there's Aatrox locked in as well. This is really short range, but I love it because you've got all of that, all those dive tools, all of those knockups, and Ezreal with all of the self-peel as Nogari thinking about a favorite of his. This would be another one, but we're cycling through and we'll see where Damwon land when it comes to their top laner.
Well, Kennen is the more known good pick into Aatrox, so they're going to do that.
Yep.
It's
I
funny.
like it. That was really well done, Jed.
It's funny, Alice. I feel like if this was game 1, they would have locked the kill.
Yeah, I think so
feel like
too.
the mindset of Damwon has changed in either trying picks out or proving that they can pick something to, no, we actually just must beat them now because we don't want to be embarrassed.
The thing I really like, though, is that Yuumi Cannon is such a cool combo at the same time. Like, you get all the adaptive damage, but also extra movement speed to get the little rat into the back line.
Yeah.
Super cool. There's a lot of cool stuff about picking Cannon here in this composition.
They're both small.
That's true, yeah.
First in Italy picker ban, though. And it's something that I expected to come out from a VCS team. I thought if we didn't get it here, we'd end up seeing it from Levi of Lowkey Esports in the group stage. But it is a pick that had way more popularity in the VCS than pretty much any other competitive region. And I think it could have worked if they wanted to do something lane swappy with it as well, but it still expect a very high tempo game from DNKs in Italy.
Yeah, we didn't see it in the LCK until the tournament that Damwon actually promoted it in the World's Qualification Gauntlet run. But it was Kingzone that was playing it. It wasn't any of our Worlds teams here on Korea's side. So we'll see how well they're going to deal with it. But a fun composition to come out from Lowkey, and I feel like we, in the last game, went away from Lowkey's strategy, away from Lowkey's style with a very sort of in the mid game we can get things done, but mainly we're aiming to scale, things like that. That is not what this team is all about. They're all about scrappy fights early. They can do that with the champions that they have now, so let's do it. Let's get into game 4 of the first best of 5 of the play-ins knockout stage. This is do or die for Lowkey Esports. Another Carl. And another Klepto.
Especially, I'm just thinking like the only way they lose this game is if the Nidalee can set up a camp somewhere and really go at it.
Well, I mean, she did make it into the enemy jungle. Canyon got his ward down and switched over to a sweeper. And they know she's there. The pings are in. And Showmaker's now closing through. You can see all of the base gates. This is so dangerous. All of Damwon are moving. That she hasn't revealed herself just yet. The Prowling Kitty will jump over the wall. But I think you're going to need a few extra pounces than that. Hani is here, gets the first knock up onto Nogari.
A bag of gold? Nogari got a bag of gold and a ward out of that? Really?
That is called outplaying your opponent, Jat. That's what that is called. That will be nothing else.
That's just wrong.
Well, they didn't kill him. They didn't kill him. So DNK is able to slink out of there, but is unable to start on the opponent's red buff. An Artifact lands his first knock-up with the Tornado. Remember that Showmaker was happy to take the Akali into this matchup.
Yep. Even the threat of a Gragas Yasuo, right? So even the threat of a devastating mid-jungle synergy gank.
Yeah.
Instead, the gank is actually less threatening unless Venus decides to roam up.
Venus, of course, formerly a jungler, actually.
True.
A few years ago. So could theoretically get that mindset back again. Prowling Projectile, meaning that Celebrity's taking a lot of damage here down on the bottom side. Seen Ezreal Gragas do a lot of good things, actually. This combo does need to hit all of their skill shots to be able to hit max damage, though. Feels like Nuclear and Beryl just land a Prowling Projectile, and then Nuclear walks at them and has zoomies for the extra sustain. Frustrating laning combo.
Yeah, there was definitely a time earlier on with Yuumi where a lot of pro players would complain that it's kind of unwinnable if you're against the Yuumi, but I feel like there's been a number of nerfs towards that champ that it's much lower presence, at least early on.
Yep.
Haven't seen the true Garen Yuumi Masters yet to see if that's no longer a viable combo.
Well, we have seen a Garen Yuumi, and hopefully we never see that again.
Well,
Come on.
The weird thing, Atlas, is that with how dominant it looked in the LEC, it also felt to me like Nuclear and Barrel just had basically never played it before.
It felt a little bit like watching some of the Sonocoms come out at MSI.
Yeah. So I think there still is something to it, and I think we'll see more of it, but you actually do have to think about what you're doing as the steal comes in for DNK.
Yeah, that was the steal. So blue buff goes over for DNK. Both of these champions with execute damage, but DNK just executing better. Now Nuclear may be in trouble. The barrel comes down, gets a lot of value there as the Aftershock does go off, but Venus had tanked up just enough while it was active. Really good trade there as the Infernal Chains pull Nuggery back. Wow, Hani. I think if he had have continued after that, could have been a possible kill, but Flash still available for Nuggery. He's going to go back to base now. Still 77 on that cull.
Yeah, but is also 300 gold ahead of Hani's Aatrox, so taking as much use of Kleptomancy as he can, and
oh, Canyon,
gank.
In he comes. DNK is waiting in the wings, but all information is there for Damwon. Q's landing, but not being taken. That spear is going to go slightly wide. Feels like a 2v2 lane. As Canyon gets level 4, catches up to DNK at the moment, as you can see. Behind by a camp and a half is Canyon.
I actually find it interesting how DNK didn't sit around to soak more experience. I think we're going to see a continued fight here over the Rift Herald as well, so I'll get to that point later.
Yep, some isolated 1v1s happening as Qs are being traded across the board. Canyon does get the inside track on DNK, but he's still going to be here. Knockup comes forward, but no level 6 available for Artifact, who now puts up the wind wall. And Damwon are just a little bit too maneuverable with this combo, so they are only taking the fights that they want.
Yeah, very hard to land skill shots on them. The thing I was going to point out about Nidalee is a lot of times when I watch Challenger Nidalee games, they just walk into a lane at red buff and just auto-attack a guy a bunch.
Yeah.
And then also take the experience, because it's one of the best ways to slingshot yourself ahead of the other jungler, which you can make the argument will be beneficial later on in the game if you can start solo killing the enemy jungler. But because he didn't soak any of the experience, the fact that we're 5.5 minutes in and Nidalee only has 5 more CS than Lee Sin means DNK is actually fairly slow by Nidalee standards.
Yeah, now he's standing on a ward, so continuing to waste a little bit of time. Whereas Canyon on the top side getting that rubber band camp in the Krugs. So Showmaker winning trades here in the mid lane also, which is what he just tends to do. This guy's laning Akali is absurd. He just comes out ahead in situations that he just straight up shouldn't. At the moment, he's behind a bit of farm, but he's collecting a minion wave that was delivered to his turret. We'll see how this goes as we crest that level 6, which both of our mid laners have now hit. Also, Ignite's taken for both mid laners also, so we're wanting to go for some Fido. Some Biffo, if you would.
Nuclear is getting pushed in a little bit by the Ezreal Gragas, and really a subdued early game, which I still feel like will favor Damwon fairly heavily, especially looking up into this top lane. 55 of his call already procced. He's got a 600 gold advantage.
The most money in the game.
Laner. And like, this is why he starts call. This is why he goes Kleptomancy, right? Because this is how he plays, but it's also sometimes feels just so risky.
Oh yeah, when he's up against a top laner that's able to actually punish the fact that he just doesn't have as many battle stats as his opponent.
Might see a dive bottom here, level 6 Yasuo.
Yep, Artifact, they know that he's there, but immediately you've got the exhaust. Venus taken down, the turnaround is beautiful. The first time Damwon's bottom lane has played as he's going to set up his own knock-up, but Artifact taking the turret shots. The Prowling Projectile is there as well, but Beryl looking to try and get them back. Good knock-up comes out, but no more ultimates available, and that is a 1-for-1 that probably shouldn't have happened for Damwon.
In a 4v2, so now we have to see what Damwon does with the rest of it. Barrow tries to get a kill with his ultimate
onto Artifact. He just solo-ulted Artifact.
He tried.
That's what I like to see. That's brilliant. Teleport back there from Nuclear. No harm, no foul. The teleport was already on cooldown from Celebrity.
Yeah,
two kills. That is just a win for Damwon.
Yeah, straight up 2 kills in a 2v4 for Damwon. So just huge advantage since we're already talking about an incredibly scary Kennen getting formed in the top lane.
Mm-hmm. And who's going to be invested to try and get that Kennen to be off that big position as Venus just dies towards the bottom side of the map. And DNK is just given the runaround. Nuclear just walking. Zoomies will be available once again. And Nuclear, even though he doesn't have his flash, it doesn't seem to matter. The rest of the Goon Squad making their way down. From down one side is Canyon and Showmaker looking for a potential dive. But this is what happens when it's not a jungle Gragas. You are very squishy without the Aftershock available.
Yeah, Burning Flash at level 4 right here. The reaction time from Nuclear, very key. It's mainly, I actually credit that reaction time to the control ward and the Tri-Brush there, because he wouldn't be as fearful of a body slam if he didn't see Yasuo. So that allows them to turn that kill around. Then also the turret getting locked onto Celebrity and very nearly killing Artifact as well. Barrel ends up hitting 6 and also ulting to get the Yasuo's flash later.
All going pretty well for Damwon. Probably the best early game that we've seen so far from this team. And this is the match point. This will get them to the group stage in either Group B or Group D. Can't be in the same group as either Griffin or SKT.
Yeah, and oh man, that draw that we're gonna have at the end of tomorrow just has so much significance.
Oh yeah. It's who goes in Groups B and Groups D out of this.
Yeah, North American fans need to be paying a lot of attention to that draw.
As Noguri looking to try and kill Hani as DNK dives on in. He has to land this Q, but he doesn't. Doesn't matter. Dives on in, gets the pounce, easy peasy, dead cannon. That's the amount of pressure that Noguri is able to offer. All the flashes in that exchange did get blown, but now Venus is in the mid lane trying to set up for his Yasuo.
Yeah, still not even a level 6 Gragas though, so Showmaker would have to go really far in. It's not like you can just get Yasuo ult off of Gragas ult. Come at him from the other angle though.
Yep, does go into his Shroud. The 5-point strike is getting some work done. Q's being traded, both of them being missed. E lands there as Showmaker dives on forward onto Artifact, sets up his own knockup. Q is going to land it. Immediately everyone is eviscerated on LK's side. Oh dear. Noguri turns up at the teleport, and that was pretty high value.
And this, I think, is the type of game a lot of people imagined. Nice ult there by Nuclear.
Yeah, and ult trades.
When they saw this draw, it was this undefeated Damwon team from the play-in stage to a Lowkey team that looked very mixed in 2-2ing what was seen as the easiest play-in group, but for so much of this, Lowkey has been making surprise moves, but now Damwon just seem to be dominating.
They do. And how did Celebrity lose his entire health bar?
Feathers?
I think it was just some feathers.
Projectiles from Yumi?
Something was happening, and it was bad news for the Ezreal as Shelly went down as well. Canyon just soloing that one out. It feels like Damwon are able to just grab whichever objective they feel like taking. DNK can't find the impact. This Nidalee is such feast or famine. If you don't get things done, if you don't get that control, she can feel so useless. So once again, Noguri's just stealing plates everywhere.
Canyon is just so loyal to Noguri.
Yeah. He does what he's told.
Gives him the Rift Herald, goes up there over and over again. And this series, we're going to watch this fight one more time in the mid lane. Artifact trying to bide his time to get the right ult off, but watch for Canyon's kick. The cooldown is actually up, even though it doesn't show it in the spectator. Oh, that was so beautiful. Kicking through the opponent.
Yep, and then lining them up so that Showmaker's ult was able to connect the dots there as well. Very nicely done. Knockup not going to be taken there as Artifact can't see the Akali. I believe put down the Shroud was going to be fine, but
dive bot lane.
Still trying to hold on. Celebrity doing the best that he can. Another plate probably will be taken as there's the Prowling Projectile to show that he's in trouble. Already down to no health at all. And the teleport is far too late. They dealt with the minion wave, but Damwon dealt with the AD carry within a couple of autos.
Yeah, Nuclear really getting very far ahead this game as well, whereas the Kleptomancy and the friendship from Canyon is helping Noguri likely still have the most gold in the game. Yep, 300 more than Nuclear.
He's already got 2 items. That's a completed Proto Belt and a completed Morellonomicon as we see another fight. Final chapter is read out to Venus, who Does get the help of his friendly Yasuo. The wind wall does a lot of work there as Canyon. You know how long that lasts, dude. But that's okay. Throws his Q right into it. It's okay, Showmaker. That is not where you want to be, but does dive back. Flash utilized.
Yep. That's
He's
fine.
going to be all right.
And they've taken both side lanes, can group basically whenever they want. 7,000 gold lead. Lowkey really just trying desperately to make something happen, but here comes Lee Sin.
Artifact just going to get kicked back immediately. The backflip comes forward. Canyon closed the gap, and Artifact is just going to die. The rest of Lowkey pull away, knowing that their Yasuo was just not long for the world. And DNK can't just go fishing with spears. They just don't have enough pressure anywhere. And even if these spears land, they don't do enough.
Canyon just styling right there. He actually safeguarded after Sonic Wave, then Resonating Strike, just so he wouldn't be moving in a straight line. He wanted to curve around.
Which a bit of fun.
Really could be an analogy for this whole series for Damwon. Not wanting to go in the straight victorious line that was set in front of them.
They don't want to be predictable, Jat. That is the main thing. And look, once you're getting towards the main group stage, then maybe being unpredictable is going to be a good thing for this Damwon squad.
I mean, they're definitely making it hard for us analysts to make any definitive predictions about them. Because,
true.
Because before Worlds, trying to take everything in, I said, wow, I think Damwon is really, really good. I think top 4 team at Worlds. I think a dark horse to maybe even win the whole thing.
Yep.
Because in the past few years, we've had more upsets. Oftentimes, the Korean 2 or 3 seed, even in the farther past, have been able to do pretty well. And then they go undefeated in play-in stage, but they have this kind of like lackadaisical early game. And you say, all right, they're warming up. They're warming up after the play-in stage. Now this best of 5 will be, hey, like, look out, group stage. Here we come. And also, then they go and lose the first game.
Yeah, I know they lose the first game, but then they have the biggest gold lead of the entire play-ins at 15 minutes.
Yeah. And
so in theoretically, they've finally warmed up. And actually, this is even more scary than it was.
But then,
just to add to the confusion.
Yeah, then I'll go and point out and be like, well, Nagari did teleport away for his team while they were doing Baron. Because that happened in game 3. And he'd be like, and he just kind of randomly dies 3 times a game.
Mm-hmm. 2 times a game. That's the power spike. True.
Yeah, and he's only died once. This may not
actually be good. As Showmaker down towards the bottom side, shoots Hani with his gun, but gets the World Ender out.
Yeah. I think that the only thing that really matters about this series is that Damwon wins 3 of 5 games. And I don't feel like they were showing everything. I think they actually tried to show things they weren't comfortable with to throw people off their scent come group stage. And I think at least this game is closer to the level that I feel like
Whoa, Showmaker diving on forward. Stopwatch immediately by Venus, and that means that he's in position so that he's not going to survive. Artifact just... He couldn't justify pressing the last breath button even though the cask went out but from the dying Gragas. And Nogari now, even these Qs are hurting so much. DNK very squishy on the Nidalee, but still, the 2 items on this very accelerated, very rich cannon are very scary to deal with. True Shot Barrage doesn't require the respect that we see from a lot of our Ezreals. And now over 10,000 gold at 16.5 minutes. We are heading towards perfect game territory minus 2 kills. Jat, it's a perfect game minus 2 kills.
You don't keep stats about 2 hitters in baseball.
No, to be perfectly honest, actually, hear me out. Because we were talking about the 0-2 power spike from Nogari.
Yeah.
If both of those deaths were on Nogari, that would be a perfect game, in my opinion.
A perfect Damwon game.
Perfect Damwon game.
Yeah.
As Artifact dancing around Nogari, he does have himself a Yuumi there as well, as the wind wall is now on cooldown. Venus makes his way in. So yeah, that's my defense for my ridiculous line of perfect game.
By the way, this is a callback from the caster room where you're just like, wow, there were... was it 3 kills away from... or it's like, oh, just 2 kills in a turret away from a perfect game.
It was 2 turrets away from a
Be like, yeah, I'm $1 million away from being a millionaire too. Real close.
You guys are too mean to me in the caster room. I'm just trying to come up with fun things to talk about, okay?
True.
Well, Nuclear, he's got a couple of items that are pretty good at this stage of the game. And as far as being as relevant as possible at this tick over to 20 minutes, I love this. Nuclear most of the time is going to build the Infinity Edge after the Essence Reaver for sort of the most bang for your buck out of 2 items, if the first one has to be Essence Reaver.
Yeah, the lethal tempo build has just actually gotten so popular.
Oh yeah.
This year with that specific combo of items. It's so good on Zaya as well.
Well, now Hani's being surrounded. In fact, it feels like everyone is being surrounded. DNK does find that cute spear, but otherwise can't venture into his own jungle. And that is not the life a Nidalee wants. Canyon is down here. Hani down to below half health. Doesn't find too many of the autos, does Damwon. And Hani is going to be able to limp away, but has to use the ultimate and has to sacrifice his inner turret. And yep, that's the cat picking up a spell there. Does a bit of damage, but then goes untargetable for the rest of forever. So doesn't need to worry. Artifact's flow is taken away, but otherwise he's going to be all right. And this is just Damwon slowly bleeding Lowkey out. A minute to go on that Baron. We've got a Mountain Drake there, as I feel obligated to say Earth, Wind, and Fire once again.
Oh.
They are going to be the Drakes, and that is a pretty linear gold graph.
And I think it's going to continue that way. I don't feel like this is the one.
I think it, I mean, it's trending in that direction. That is very true. 11,000 gold. Just huge. I think we're heading towards our largest gold lead at 20 minutes as well.
There's a good chance. I mean,
you'd think if it was the largest gold lead at 15 minutes, there's a high likelihood that we get to the highest gold lead at 20 minutes as well. Celebrity's dead, guys.
Whoa.
Real dead, real fast.
Yeah, Canyon able to solo this Mountain Drake, and they'll probably be able to take a 20-minute Baron. And this looks like kind of the potential and the skill of Showmaker and Nogari without all of the dumb stuff this game.
Well, Showmaker's diving forward yet again. Final chapter is there, but not enough to get the snare. Rhyme was unintentional. Now just going to go back, and it looks like bullying away from this Baron that has only just spawned and is immediately sent back to the Void.
Yeah, they're ready for this one. They want,
yeah.
They want to be out of the series and say, you know, we delayed it 44 minutes in Game 1.
Yeah.
Let's try and make up for lost time in Game 4. And you can kind of see the Damwon players didn't look that happy leaving the stage after Game 3, after the 2-1.
No.
But I feel like the coaching and the team have really at least brought it back around to more of what we wanted to expect.
Yeah, and also, I mean, talking about the coaches, I mean, I want to have a bit of a rant about Coach Kim, but I'm not going to be able to, as we're going to check out this replay.
I mean, Ezreal dies very fast.
He does, but we do want to see exactly how it happened. He got shot, and then he got hit by a 5-point strike, and then dashed through. He's theoretically hit by 4 abilities, and he was instantly dead. Did you circle some stuff?
I was trying.
I didn't see any circles.
I picked a small circle when I should have picked
Where were the circles? Were they there?
We have question marks as well.
Were they there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's actually the most underutilized part of this screen. Yeah. That's a good TP.
Yeah, teleport coming in from the cannon. Nogari just getting into position in the side lane. There's a... What are we looking at? What are we looking at, Jeff?
Power
That's
spikes.
A really cool hat from the cannon.
They play around.
Yeah, he's... Okay, this probably need a smaller circle for that one, but that is the 3-item spike that we talk about for Nuclear. If you play, you know... You've seen a Pikachu with a cool hat like that? Does a lot of extra damage.
Yeah, this is with the next 2 minutes and 13 seconds. They're going to be looking to end the game. They just need one pick.
Yep. Inhibitor turret goes down on the top side of the map, and they're just trying to bleed them out. It is going to be a necessary fight for Lowkey. They have to find something now, otherwise they're just going to lose everything. In quick succession, Damwon have them spread so far as there's the last breath. They jump on Nuclear, but over the wall he goes. Canyon now dives onto Artifact, and Nogari in the backline doesn't even have to press his ultimate button yet.
He still has it.
Just kiting 5 members of Lowkey.
He still got it.
Their own base. Showmaker gets in there and finally pulls the trigger. 2 kills. No, only 1. Almost instantly, though, as Damwon, they find the trigger and they press it hard. Triple kill instantly for the Akali in the front line. And Damwon, they hold on and then just click their fingers and end Lowkey. Artifact still alive underneath his Nexus turrets, but these are Baroned up minions. It's 22.5 minutes into the game. Game 4, Damwon make a statement, and they're looking to dive another fountain, but the Nexus isn't going to last long enough. our first team promoted into the world's group stage is Damwon Gaming.
And they do it with increasingly better gameplay. Lose the first one, struggle a bit in the second, but this fourth game was just 22 minutes and 43 seconds of absolute domination. Every lane was able to win. And then also they ended the game